Hi, Livia. I got to do an intro for the Roseanne Barr podcast. Are you wearing? Is she naked? Okay. Let's get out of the line of the camera then, because we don't want some of the people that listen to this show. I don't really trust. Let's be honest. Anyway, welcome to the Roseanne Barr podcast. This is Jake Pentland. I just want to tell you this episode that follows with Ryan Long is an excellent episode. However, there were some audio complications. I won't get into the technical specifics. I will just say this. I had a professional audio guy 3 months ago come and tell me what to do because I wanted to give you the best audio, and everything he told me was wrong, and I'm never using him again, and I'm not blaming him, but it's all 100% completely his fault. He told me to use a compressor on this recording equipment, and all it does is lift everybody's mic up. So sometimes when I talk, you can hear me on my mother's mic. When Ryan talks, you can hear Mom, and it's just not good sound. I have fixed the problem. Everything going forward will be fine. I just want you to know we did our best to clean up the audio on this. I actually had a friend of mine who's a professional audio engineer go in and edit it. It will sound hollow and weird at times. I don't think it's a big deal, but I just want to put that out because I want to bring you the best technical product every week. And my mom and I love this show, and we love... Could you be quiet, Livia Pearl?
Oh, you see, my patience is growing.
So excited for the Roseanne Barr podcast today because this is going to be a journey in the mind of a genius and a giant and just a fucking absolute talent whom I just love so much.
Thank
Ryan
you.
Long.
We are out here. What a treat to be here. You know what?
What?
I always kind of think one of my favorite times being in entertainment was I think about it when I was taking a plane to Austin and we got sat beside each other, and I seen you the night before, and you were kind of telling me all the stories about the sitcom era. And but the one thing he said that I actually told people this, and I think about it a lot because I grew up in the 90s, so I watched it all. And then you were saying in the writing room where people would bring the scripts that got all sad at the end, and you and Norm Macdonald would be like, someone's trying to win an enemy. That to me is the funniest story.
No, that was awesome.
I remember that era where everything was just getting, it was the Will Smith, the lights out at the end, and they were all doing sad stuff to win Emmys.
Yeah. I just said, don't be trying to fucking win an Emmy on my show.
Yeah.
That's one of the greetings I did for the writing staff.
Dude, I remember, because you, as a viewer, you sort of you notice the trend, but you don't never notice the behind the curtain where you're like, oh, right, they're all trying to seem profound.
Oh my God, they had no life experience. They had no kids.
Yeah.
They was married to somebody they hate and never want to go home. So they lived there on my dime and, because I'm paying for that building they're living in. And everything they're eating and doing over there. That's coming out of my check. And they should just go home because they certainly ain't working. They's all playing games, bullshitting around, taking drugs, taking naps.
Basically
just like a writer's room. Huh? Exactly.
Like this podcast.
And then, except for I'm doing it. But, and I just couldn't stand it. Because I go, these fat cat motherfuckers, they got in their contract, they got $25K a week.
Whoa!
And they're bitching about the janitors the whole time. Well, they're sure uppity, the janitors there. I mean, I'm telling you, I saw too much. It was too
People's heads
fun.
get blown up really quick, eh? Day one, they're like, oh, should I even be here? Day two, they're throwing stuff on the fire. You going to clean that up? Or what is this guy even doing?
I didn't. I was always like this. And recording, my thing was I need to record this for future shows and material, because it was unreal, the shit I saw. You could not write it. You could not write it.
Interesting. Dan Schneider's doing his thing in your writer's room, probably.
No, he was not one of my writers. I'm really proud that he wasn't one of my writers. Yeah.
What did you think of that whole thing?
Well, I knew a ton about it since I got out there to Hollywood and saw what was going on, and I was an activist for children's rights. So I knew and found out a whole bunch of shit. And
it's a lot of the kids shows that basically, I guess any job that has a lot of kids.
You know what it is? It's a fucking rotten, it's a goddamn satanic corporation. A corporation is a monument to Satan. I'm telling you what.
You look mind
First
blown
of
there a
all,
little bit.
Like, well, just every corporation, or you're saying
just
Hollywood?
the corporate structure itself. It is the least democratic thing on fucking earth. You get
Do you
fired.
think that's good or bad?
It's terrible.
Do you think corporations should be democratic?
I don't think they should be able to impose their elitist will on captive populations once they force them to fucking get jabbed in the eye 18 times by law. No.
Hell yeah.
And then get kicked off because you're going, what's going on? You insurrectionist! You're going to fucking prison while I burn this whole goddamn town down and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fucking Nazisville. It ain't nothing.
Do you think
but.
Hollywood's the worst? Do you think Hollywood's worse than, Silicon Valley or DC?
Well, they're all part of the same deal and they all play a different role. But they're all in the snake.
It always makes me laugh that people always talk about how DC has these kind of elite sex cults,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of look at the politicians and you're like, I mean, I hope not. I hope you don't. You make it to the top of DC. They bring you into a room. It's just like Nancy Pelosi, Ted Cruz, and Mitch McConnell, and you're like, this is what you do. And they're like, you earned this, and you're like, I'm actually good. I'm probably good on that. Just Nancy Pelosi with her legs behind her head. You know how?
No, they get the sex servants. They get like the young children.
Yeah, but they still all have to be in the room together. Like even if you got two prostitutes,
together?
even if they were
I
smoking.
don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, they
now.
say DC has sex cults.
Oh yeah, like that one page that
Pizzagate.
photographed him. Not Pizzagate. The guy that just photographed himself on all fours, ass up, taking it in the hooter, right there in the Congress. Didn't you see that? Is that the height of arrogance?
There was more than one. There was like another guy recently too that he was like I think this might have been in like the UK, but it was another guy.
They're all nuts over there too.
There used to. Hey, do you know how there used to be a lot, like, remember the Republican senator that was kind of like against gay stuff, and then he got like in the bathroom blowing a dude?
Yeah.
I was actually the guy who busted him. They came in and I was like, we got him. So I was part of that sting.
the James O'Keefe style sting.
Yeah, I did that. Do you know what
I should cut that out. I shouldn't have said that.
Do you remember?
It's all just chronic masturbation and getting paid for it.
Sure.
Ain't it?
And I guess a lot of that they say is power, really, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the sex stuff. But do you think, okay, do you know how there would kind of used to be like against gay marriage and then they'd get caught with dudes?
Yeah.
Do you think that's now? Do you know how like it's not in America, but a lot of like the UK and Canada has this a bit. Like a lot of places, they like memes, sexist memes are banned and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Do you think there's any super liberal politicians that are really against memes and they get home and they're just like, oh yeah, my fucking memes when she nutted but she's still sucking? Like just love sexist memes.
Of course.
He has to go to the Senate floor and be like, these memes are terrible. And he gets home, he's like, women should be in the kitchen. Yeah. Basically,
100%.
You mean that people are obsessed with what they loathe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I see that in everyone.
Projection, they call it.
Yeah, and they can never admit it. Hey, one thing that really would help people, if I could offer this as an old woman,
Okay.
just stop fucking around and say you're sorry. That is like ends a lot of pain.
You're talking about
Don't keep going with it because you're afraid to say, I did it, you're right, and I'm sorry.
What would be an example of someone that you think that would help it?
All the Jews in the...
Here we go.
Jews.
Listen,
All
hey,
right.
Jews, if you're listening, just say sorry.
All
Enough's
the
enough.
Jews on the left that are going out and saying they love the Nazi Palestinians for the street cred.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Well,
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be Jew-free. You sons of a bitch! They've already ethnically cleansed every Jew out of 57 Arab states, which the Muslim Brotherhood-run media, which all the Jews worked for Obama, they won't let nobody know that, so that's why I just said it. So suck it!
Yeah, we've been doing it every week. We've been
I'm a
educating.
trans man. I'm going
Nice.
to tell you that.
You're saying what you've been doing every week. You said you've been riding for Hollywood or for riding for Israel every week. Is that what you meant?
We've been
Just
talking
for
about
common sense.
we've been
for
talking about the
fuck's sake.
Muslim Brotherhood's role in media because you can say Jews run the media. We say this every week. Like everyone says the Jews run the media, and they do. A lot of Jews do run the media.
A lot of Jews work in the media.
But you can't say the Muslim Brotherhood
They have to
does.
say what the Muslim Brotherhood tells them to say.
Okay, you're saying
You
that
say-
they have their marching
Agenda.
orders.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got their marching orders.
That's our theory.
Which they get at 4 a.m. from
Yeah.
the CIA, which is the Muslim Brotherhood of the State Department.
New
under
York's are the hub of this
Obama.
right now.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, New York's the hub of all the protests right
Yeah.
now.
No shit.
Let's talk about the protest.
Well,
Kevin.
I was just saying, like, to me, this is to me, it's funny because it's all the protesters. Tom, just picture this right now. There is a college kid explaining to his Jewish landlord why he can't make rent while he's wearing a "fuck Zionism" shirt.
Oh God, is that hilarious? Oh my God,
That's
it's
it.
so horrible.
He's like, I mean, listen, I couldn't work at the coffee shop. There's a lot of protest. My protesting schedule is very aggressive right now.
well, they get
How
Guy's got the
paid.
genius
tassels
is
and
that?
everything. He's like, I just need
Have you seen it? I mean, it's hard to top reality when you see these Jews that are like with the long side locks and they're dressed like, the Amish.
Yeah.
They basically look just like the Amish with side curls.
Digging tunnels.
And they're holding up Palestine flags, for fuck's sake.
Hey, I've got another gripe if you want to tell your people. Yeah. So
Okay. Yes.
the main camera store in New York, B&H, because
I used to go there all the time.
it's great. They run the place, and it's run by I think Orthodox or Hasidics or
Yeah,
something
Christopher,
like that, right?
what's his name?
Marcos.
Yeah, Marcos. He
And
took me there.
it's closed, so they have like monopoly on cameras, but then it's closed on, I guess it would be the
Saturday,
is
yeah.
that Friday.
Uh-huh.
So it's closed every Friday. You also can't even go on the website on Fridays. You can't order stuff on Fridays. So it's like, why can't they just find non-Jews to run it on the Fridays?
Yeah.
Why does the whole place have to be closed down?
You know what I
That's a
love?
good question.
Guys, if you want to tell them that,
I think
Yeah, I'll
that's
call it
common
up.
sense.
You can make a
That's
phone call.
common sense. But they're not supposed to make anything work on on Shabbat. You're
But
not
I thought Jews are
supposed
about
to.
loopholes, right?
Well, that's what I think too.
Well, no, that's
and
what
I
they
did go
do.
through so many loopholes. Let me tell you, you know how many lawsuits I have financed in my life. Many of them are against the Jewish people.
You did.
And I've won. Yes.
What's your biggest
because-
win?
Well, I can't. I'm under an NDA.
Oh, they're all NDAs. Nice.
7 figures, though.
Woo!
Publications, you can say, right?
I don't think I'm allowed to say.
Oh, you sued publications that
I did sue publications under the RICO Act, and I won.
with
Now,
the RICO
that-
Act, like saying that they're a gang.
Yeah, they are a gang of organized criminals in every
Whoa!
state that turns in shit on famous people, and
you
I
won?
won. Yeah, but I don't know why nobody's ever using that. I won that case in the Supreme Court.
That's sick.
Yeah, because I went, I don't care how much it cost me. I'm a rich fucking Jew, bitch. You better watch out. Watch out what you
And
allow.
didn't you sue them for-
Watch out what you allow.
Didn't you sue him for telling the truth? That's what you told me once. That was what you. Was this the same lawsuit?
Oh, yeah.
I said they
also-
printed something false, and you said no, they printed something true. That's why I was able to sue them. But is that
Yeah.
is that true? Is that the same RICO case? You can't.
Yeah, kind of. I broke that all down, too.
Oh,
Because they have to surround it with lies so that you won't figure out who in your household is selling the stories.
it's a publication where
But
people sell
because I'm
stories.
on the autism spectrum, I could always figure out who the guilty one was. Like I said, because I always fucking won in Clue,
and it was always Tom
and
Arnold.
I watch the
That was-
ID channel, so I know how the criminal mind works. You
Whoa!
see,
She's a
because my
profiler.
grandpa and both my grandpas had criminal minds.
well, they're Jews. Of course they did.
Yeah, well, they had to, or they wouldn't have got no money.
Dude, that's
they had
wild.
to make, Jews had to make their money on the black market, just like in the following ages. So did the African Americans and the Hispanics.
And the Kennedys.
And the Kennedys. Everybody's got to make their money on the black market
Yeah.
in America.
That's how you do it.
I mean, my mind's blown by the fact that you sued the media, basically saying they operate like a gang because they do.
It's
Obviously,
RICO.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Because
Even worse
one
now.
guy calls another guy because they was turning in stories about me wherever I was going across the country. What's that?
yeah, because they can all.
They was fucking turning in what I was eating in what hotel at what time.
And
then
did
they
you
was
have a
going to-
mole?
Huh?
Did you have a mole?
Well, of course, there was always a mole.
Well,
They have moles
that's what
everywhere.
Drake has a mole in OVO right now. He's basically the same thing.
What's
Yeah.
this rap thing?
Drake, yeah. Drake, man, they're coming. Oh, they came hard for Drake.
Oh, he's a Jewish
here
brethren,
in the
right?
in the six, yeah.
Yeah, that's my city.
He's from, is that your city?
That's my city.
I
yeah.
love performing there.
Toronto's
People
the
are so
best.
smart.
Yeah.
And they have the best brassiere store that's ever been for a Jewish woman with large breasts.
Really?
Right there in Toronto, which is why I always accepted the invitations to perform there.
The
Plus
big boobs shop.
Yeah, for like the Jewish woman. It was like handmade for the Jewish
What's
woman.
it called? What's
I
the
can't
name?
remember, but it's
Shout out to
across
the big
from
boob
that.
store.
It's across the street from that.
I actually
hotel.
know because in Toronto it also has the best store for underwear for men with huge packages, and I go there a lot.
Wait,
I usually have to go twice a week because I wear out the other one.
Well, when you're a Jew, you have very large breasts, and also you have a lot of back fat.
Is that true?
Yes, so you've got to balance that all out with the
I'm just
proper
scanning through Jewish
the
women I
proper
know.
think about it.
foundation.
Yeah, it's pretty true, actually.
The proper foundation must be had. They've got to have the high sides. Now, none of these bitches always have the high sides
What's high
because they
sides?
always are really skinny.
I guess you're saying that, like,
Scandinavian
big ribs,
or
sort of?
like Japanese girls that have no back fat.
Are you talking about your top butt? Your butt on top of your butt?
Second butt.
Yeah,
Top
but the
butt
one on
where?
top.
On your back?
The duplex. There's your butt, and then you have the one above it. You're talking about that one? Your back
Yeah.
top butt. Yeah, that's a high side. It looks like a 4-pack of buns, is what I'm saying. When you get a swimsuit on. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know if
I didn't know what
y'all
high sides
noticed
were.
that.
Oh, we all talk about it every time behind your back.
Oh,
We all
I
look
try
at you.
to hide my
This guy
back
leaked it to
fat.
the media last week.
Well, anyway, we can't talk about that lawsuit apparently much more. But can you guys tell me what this rap
But
beef is?
anyways,
Because I don't know
found
about
out
it.
who the mole was.
Oh. She bounces around.
Who was it?
My husband, Tom Arnold.
Stop it.
Yeah. It was.
It's true.
Your husband was
Yeah,
leaking?
he was
Were
a
you still
mole.
with him at the time, or this is when you were separated?
No, when I was with him.
Completely together. What does
Yeah.
he get out of that?
Money?
Just like trying to make you look bad so we can break up with you, and he seems like the good guy?
I think it was
What's the
drug
game?
money.
He's doing it for money?
Uh-huh.
Weren't you guys rich?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had money. Why did he do
You
it?
didn't have enough?
Oh wait,
Not-
no, he
not
was
at
selling.
first.
He was selling stories before you got rich with him.
Yeah,
Or he got
before
rich
I
with
got
you.
really rich.
How
That
much
was
did you
when
get for a
he was
story?
$5,000, I think it was.
I think it was $5,000.
Seems like not crazy money.
Well, when you're on coke, that's a good amount of money. And this was
He
back in the
was a drug
90s.
addict.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cocaine.
drug addicts, drug addicts. And then the worst thing they do.
That stinks.
Yeah, but
Pretty
even
hard.
worse than that, because most drug addicts have the decency to overdose and die. But when they get sober, the damage they begin to inflict on their victims is unfucking believable.
Oh, because
Because their self-righteous gene kicks in because they're like, sober 30 days, I didn't fuck nobody over, screw nobody, steal
I'm the
nothing
king.
for 30 whole days, and I get a medal. It's like narcissism to the millionth degree.
Yeah, I'm the king of morality right
nastiness.
now.
Huh?
I'm the king of morality because I haven't had a drink in a week.
Yeah, I haven't fucked nobody over because I wasn't drunk enough.
Yeah, I didn't steal from my mother for 8 days. I'm the king right now. That sucks.
Yeah, it was
They
gross.
never paid the price for their transition. That was the first time I noticed when people was talking about transitioning.
He's
You know?
transitioning from a drug addict to an asshole.
No, to a sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, to a sober. That's a whole other thing. Then they get all self-righteous with the God shit too.
Oh, so
the Lord, and
you're
the
just
Lord
like-
hath saith, He forgives me for what I did to you, and if you have decency in your heart, someday you'll forgive me too.
yeah,
That
and
fucking double talking bullshit of Satan. Fucking 12 steps to hell.
and you're thinking, can you please just do some heroin and go back to stealing from me?
Yeah.
Better.
Or die.
And then
I liked it
there
better
would
when you
be
were leaking
less
stories.
gaslighting involved with the saved shit.
Yeah, saved can be a hassle.
Oh my good Lord. I'm so bored with all of it.
She calls them sobers. It's my favorite thing. That's like
The sobers?
She has like a, what is it, epithet for them? Sobers, people in recovery. She hates sobers. I just love that you say
They can never recover that they were a fucking asshole who stole from all their friends. And
That's
lied
tough, yeah.
And fucking did a million other nasty things that they think because they got sober that makes them be forgiven, but it don't. You owe money, bitch. You owe money to all those kids you left behind and their mothers when you was drunk and running around, you son of a bitch. Go pay your fucking fines and then come back and talk about self-righteousness. And in the meantime, so why don't you kiss my fucking drunken ass? That's what I say. That's what I have to say about
Selling
it.
secrets from your wife is pretty low on the scale.
I agree.
Of dirtbag.
Yeah, that's
And it was the Inquirer that told me, too. We was in a room.
Well, I had a lot of that in my family, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, I had 2 uncles. I mean, they're dead now, and they would steal from my grandma, and it was kind of like a whole debacle that went on forever, and no one knew what to do about it. And,
no.
You know, they always forgive them, especially when it's your kids, right? You always forgive them, and then, then 2 weeks later, they've drained your, Social Security kind of thing.
awful.
Really crappy stuff. Yeah. It's kind of like a debacle. Like when she died, it was like all the money was drained. When he died, like they couldn't even do the funerals because like she had no money. So it was like, and then they'd like kind of break in and like sell like Elvis memorabilia. Just like I remember my mom went there and she was like the walls were just like cleared of everything, just like classic like drug addict stuff. And there isn't really like a good answer. I guess the good answer is then they become righteous, but that didn't happen in this case.
Well, that's why I'm not opposed to that fentanyl coming across the border.
Fentanyl, you mean?
Yeah, fentanyl. Because, I mean, you know what I mean? If you're that fucking deranged.
For me personally, I stopped. I used to be for fentanyl, and then after my uncles died, I said I'm going to stop putting it in my product that I sell to family members.
That's really good that you did that. But I mean, really, it's going to clear out drug addicts. I mean,
the problem with fentanyl is that kids can like touch a doorknob and die. They're not even doing drugs. That's the problem with it.
Well, I mean,
you can't be pro fentanyl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the problem.
Well, also, just like
horrible.
a cool guy can be partying,
Yeah.
Dude, it's like crazy the amount that. Whereas like before, I don't think you knew a ton of people that OD'd. Now it's like everyone knows 4 people.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, fentanyl.
Oh, see, I don't know that world.
Dude, in LA comedy, there was, I forget that girl's name, Kate Quigley or something. And she was with like 7 people. They're at a party. They just all did coke and 6 of them died.
Comics?
Yes. I don't know if these were all comics. She's a comic. A few of them were comics. And yet in comedy, I think everyone knows someone that, did that. Yeah.
When we were at Skankfest, remember they tested that
Yeah.
guy's coke and he had fentanyl in it. Remember when we were in Skankfest? On stage, someone had coke.
And then someone had a tester?
They tested it right there and had fucking fentanyl at Skankfest and they stopped it. You don't remember that?
No, I was high on that coke.
No,
I don't remember
it's
that.
really scary because it takes, I mean, George Floyd died of fentanyl and then.
Is that what he was on?
Yeah, he OD'd on fentanyl. Not a lot of people.
That must be one hell of a good drug. Have you ever tried it?
Coke?
Fentanyl.
Probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, they probably put it in the other drugs.
Well, that's what they do. And then it takes so
Probably
little
put it
to
in
kill
the
you.
aspirin.
It's everywhere. And that's not a joke. I know the lady in Texas that she's on the PTA.
Well, it's just cheaper, right?
You
That's
touch
the
it.
idea. It's like.
I don't know. I think it gets you really fucked up.
They say they make it in China.
But that's what I mean. I think the idea is if you can sell way less coke if you put fentanyl in, it's cheaper.
Uh-huh. It's like baby powder used to be.
Yeah.
Or something, but it gets you high.
Yeah. Fentanyl is a drug that gets you high.
Ooh, it just makes you be afraid to take drugs anymore.
That's why
It's getting so as you can't even take illegal drugs anymore.
Yeah, well, that's like, to be honest, that a lot of people do kind of think that. Like, I think there's a lot of people that nowadays like would be at a party and they're like, yo, I'm not going to just take like random coke. That's too sketchy.
Yeah.
Like
So maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah, guys, I don't know. Depends on what side of partying you're on.
That's true. I'm fine with partying. I don't care. As long as you don't fucking sell stories to the Inquirer, I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? Like if you just
I've
gonna
tried
get high and have
cocaine
fun.
a few times when I was Tom Arnold's girlfriend, or comedy partner. We like did shows together.
Is it fun? I've never done coke.
No, I never liked it. It gave me the worst fucking headache.
Yeah.
And
It does give you the worst headache, especially in the morning. Bad hangovers.
the headache was just too much because
Messes your voice up.
yeah, and you go way too high and end up too low.
Yeah, you're probably
There's
already like kind of a high person
yeah.
too, right? Like I think a lot
Uh-huh.
of people, I think a lot of my friends that are like the most into it, it's like they're almost are like low socially. And then, you know, that turns them into the person they want to be a little bit, you know?
That is what it is. It's like
Yeah,
it's like
it gives them
drinking.
confidence.
Yeah.
And they think it makes them funny. I've watched a lot of comics do that because but it's not, they're so tired with what I could see. They're so burnt out and tired and used up that they think they got to amp it all up to get there.
Yeah.
When if they just rested for 6 months, it'd come naturally, you know.
And also you put it into your, like with creativity, with anything, with, you know, touring, like if you bake, you know, being on drugs into your system, then all your brain pathways are like, this is how I do it. This is how I learn. This is how I am funny. And then you're like, well, I don't know how to do it without that. So many people have that where it's like, you know, I can only write when I smoke weed. I can only perform when I'm drunk. Like, and then you're just like, you do it without, they're like, well, that'll be like starting again because this is how I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
I think that for a lot of people, it's like how at some point, especially when you're like in the thick of like being popular, it's just like boom, boom, boom. You're like, I don't have 6 months. Like you're saying, you know what I mean? They're like, I don't have 6 months. I have to do this tomorrow. And this is how I do it. So it's hard to change your system once you almost have to just like start not doing that. I think that's like the whenever you see like new comics, they're just like, oh yeah, I drink 4 or 5 beers a night before every show. And you're just like, this is going to be like bad for you.
You don't do anything before you do
I
stand-up?
can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
But it's not
He
baked in.
has.
that's not the normal.
But
Right.
you're like now you're just into the art of it.
Yeah, but
You're
also I've
into
been
the
doing it for a
flow,
long
right?
time. Yeah,
You've been doing it a long time.
I think there's a big difference between like learning something drunk and then learning it before having your way you do it, and then you want to be drunk. You want to be drunk. Like you know what I mean? But it's almost like the learnings where your brain pathways get shaped. You know?
Yeah, that is right.
Well, Ma, I love doing this podcast with you week to week, and it's fun. We talk about all sorts of subjects, but what I really love is doing the ads with you. Because they're a little bit looser. And when
Especially the fatty liver.
I was going to say the fat
you
liver.
get like some really horrible fat jokes off at the expense of my liver, which I don't think I do have a fatty liver, but I could have a fatty liver.
You really don't think you have a fatty liver?
I
Come on.
could have a fatty liver.
Yeah, I think you have a fatty liver. I think you have 5 fatty stomachs too.
That's just
Because
not
cows
funny.
have 5 stomachs. Or is
That's
it?
not funny.
Okay, well, I'll cut it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, you're looking great. Actually, you're probably thinner than me now, sadly.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with a fatty liver?
Well, I'm assuming
People who have a fatty liver might be thin looking.
that's
right?
actually a really good point. If you're thin and in shape, you should still look into this Impact Brands fatty liver formula because it affects hundreds of millions of Americans, and I would say not hundreds of millions
Especially
of
if
Americans
you're
are all
over
fat.
40.
Yeah. It is. It's not. I make fat jokes, but you're right. Absolutely right. A fatty liver can be caused by bad food, bad medicine, all sorts of things. So that is a very, very good point. So tell the people where to go because it is very important if you do have fatty liver to take care of it. It's as bad as heart disease.
Yeah, it's very important to start protecting your liver today. You can do so with Liver Health Formula. It's an all-natural supplement which contains 11 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. This company has already helped more than 2 million fellow Americans with their products. It's not surprising that the Liver Health Formula is so popular, is it, Jake?
It's not surprising at all because we do the ads for them.
You can try Liver Health Formula and receive a free bottle of nano-powered omega-3 to keep your heart healthy. And try Liver Health Formula by going to getliverhealth.com/RB and claim your free bonus gift. Remember, your liver is responsible for 500 key functions, so it's time you give it a boost in performance. Go to getliverhealth.com/RB.
Well, Ma, Feel the Greens is a product we pushed a bunch. That's the powder and that you love, and you shake it and you drink it. And it's 6 whole fruits and vegetables we talk about all the time. But they've been
Pulverized.
Yeah. freeze-dried and pulverized. It's a great product, but they've been really kind of on the forefront now of the war on cancer. They're not just like it's not an energy drink. It's really healthy for you. And they just sent me this note that the American Cancer Society discovered diets rich in fruits and veggies may actually lower your risk of cancer, because in 2024, over 611,000 deaths from cancer are projected. Everything's getting worse. Food's getting worse. Stress, smoking, chemtrails, aliens trying to eat our livers, whatever it is, it's becoming worse than ever. So Field of Greens actually, even though it's fruits and vegetables, whatever, sounds like it's healthy, and it actually can help fight cancer as well.
Who would have thought something having to do with nature would be good?
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it would help your health and
There
your
is
body.
There is a new movement now where it's like, hey, let's have products where people eat and put in their body that aren't made in a lab. And I think that's probably pretty smart. I think God knows what he's doing. Fruits and vegetables know what they're doing. So Field of Greens, you can tell them where to go. They already know. It's 6 whole fruits and vegetables, freeze-dried and pulverized, and we love it.
Yeah, and if you don't love it for any reason, what's great is they'll give you a 100% money-back guarantee. And I got you 15% off of your first order, plus free rush shipping. Visit fieldofgreens.com and use the promo code RB. That's promo code RB at fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com.
Oh yeah.
What about these rap battles? Like poor Drake. I mean, what's his face really came for Drake, didn't he?
Can you guys tell me what's going on?
Pedophile and stuff.
They're calling him a pedophile.
Big rap battle where he's like,
Drake is a pedophile.
it's ludicrous,
You think
right?
so?
100%.
Why?
Didn't everyone know this?
Well, they're saying
Remember when he was texting us?
He might like young girls.
That's a pedophile.
Well, it depends. But if not, if they're 19.
No, he was texting the girl
pedophile
from
is a
Stranger Things years ago.
A child of
They were
legal,
friends, I guess.
under the legal age. That's a child.
Yeah, I mean, this is always one of those things where you don't want to be the guy like
It's my
arguing. Well,
opinion.
technically, it's not. Obviously,
No, I'm saying it. I should say this is my theory. But I said Drake was a pedophile 6 years ago. I didn't know this was a thing now.
You said that about him?
100%. He was texting that girl that played 11 on Stranger Things when she was, I think, 11 or 12.
Well, his side of that is like, yeah, we're friends. Like,
Yeah, he was mentoring her. But that's what pedophiles say.
It is obviously you're just like, yes, my buddy. Like you're hanging out with 13-year-old girls. You're just friends, huh?
That's
I get
what
you're saying.
That was my instinct. But then also he's a child actor, so he's obviously molested and raped on the set. I said that.
You think Degrassi was going down like that?
100%.
Drake was on Degrassi.
He was a child actor. Do you know this? At Degrassi?
I know a lot of people were on
Drake
Degrassi.
was a child actor?
Yeah, he was like a dorky.
Have you heard of the show Degrassi?
No, what's
she's
that?
Degrassi. It was like a very famous kids show.
Wasn't he in a
Canada.
wheelchair or he's gay or
Was it
something? I never
on
watched
Disney?
it.
No, it was a Canadian show.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, it was a Canadian
But it was very
show.
popular in America. It was like one of the
Okay.
biggest Canadian shows that ever kind of became popular in America.
And Drake was
Oh.
like the gay. What was he? I never watched it. He was gay or retarded or something.
Wheelchair.
Wheelchair.
Yeah.
Retarded.
he got
Got it.
shot. That's why.
Oh, okay. So not retarded.
I never really
Crippled.
like watched Degrassi. I just know this.
I didn't either, but no. So Drake, and then I remember he got interviewed when he was like 19 after Degrassi ended or whatever age, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm starting music." And E.T. did it, and they were basically doing that thing where they parade like, "Look at this fucking loser thinks he's going to do music," and then he becomes like one of the biggest rappers in the
Yeah,
world.
he became huge.
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously the diss battles become like essentially like a gossip fest now. I mean, kind of all of the internet is like a gossip
it's
I
fest.
don't
really
follow
gay.
this stuff, so they're.
Only gay guys like
Thank
it.
you. Everyone in rap is a gay
I
pedophile.
mean, no masculine guy gives a two fucking shits.
I just
about
don't understand why everyone's surprised about P.
It is
Diddy
a
or
little
Drake.
Perez Hilton-y, right? It's like, well,
100
just so you know, like we all been saying this about you. Like there's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah.
it, right?
Can I just say one thing and I'll let you talk?
Yeah,
Rapping is so gay. Like
it's all gay.
it's guys like I'm gonna like they act hard, but you're singing, you're writing poetry
Yeah, people
with
like
that
say it.
drum beat. Like it's so fucking gay. I always look.
Yeah.
I know you were in a band, so, but at least you.
Yeah.
I know. I
Well,
was
listen, I'm not-
talking
I think
about
it's
that
gay.
too.
Listen, I'm
Were you
I moved
singing?
to New York to be an artist. I'm not ever claiming I'm the most pinnacle of
Were
masculinity.
you
on
a
that
singer
sense.
though, or what was
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Okay, so it's gay.
Being an artist is not
It's
the
so
most
gay.
masculine thing in the world.
No,
as much
being
as you
an
try to.
artist is totally queer.
Yeah,
So
100%.
we're queer. We're here.
I'm not a
we're
queer. You take that back. You call me a queer to my face.
No, we're here.
mean
We're
weird.
queer.
I mean, listen. There's obviously like
we're not like them.
No.
We're not like this. So several nights ago, Jimmy said we should try to get a new kind of dishwasher. We're not like
Yeah.
that. We're like crazy and out there, you know.
I mean, creativity is
Yeah.
inherently somewhat feminine.
Yeah, I think so.
In me, it's total masculine, is how I see it.
Well, that's
was
the
one of
manifestation of the creativity, in my opinion. So the masculine is you. That's your perspective. That's your personality. The creativity part is, you know, the alchemy, and that part of it is like, you know, it's kind of even like politically, like you know, like a kind of more conservative masculine thing is very like, this is how you solve it, and this is we're going to do this, and you know, and I think the feminine portion is a little more, whereas the out of the box component, you know,
Right.
and that, it's kind of one of those things where, in my opinion, the out of the box component is usually wrong, but that's how you find the best parts.
Right.
So if I'm thinking of things like most of the time you're kind of, you know, putting stupid connections together and coming up, but then once in a while you're coming up with a great connection. I think that if you are just too hyper masculine, you actually remove the creative parts, because
100%.
you kind of look at that, you're like, yeah, well, why would that work? And you're like, most of the time you're right, but when you're not right, that's like the creative. That's what creativity is.
I agree,
think.
1000%.
When you are right in that on that.
I'll tell
Brilliant.
you what, none
Brilliant.
of you, very few men, you guys are the exceptions,
Woo!
need to be creative.
Right.
That's not what they're here for. They're
Agree.
not here to develop their feminine side, for fuck's sake.
I agree.
That's why they're hulkingly huge. And so that's what they need to stick to, is the, you know,
Generally speaking, because there are
Well, a lot
creatives
of they
that-
make it. There's manly ways to sell things. You know what I mean? Like you go, no, I'm not. What do you mean? I'm creative. I'm a linear thinker. Like that's like a tech version of like how to describe that thinking in a masculine way.
right.
well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You know?
Because, you know, the whole computer's based on the way women think.
I thought it would
It's
have
all
been masculine.
circular. Yeah, it's all.
That's why mine never works.
Every
That's why it always
28
has a
days,
virus.
Every
That's why when I
28
order
days,
food, it never
blows a fuse. It blows a fuse every month.
No, you make a good point. I would have thought
but
computers were masculine.
it's in a circular rather than a linear thought form. That's why and also we can have Siri.
Well,
Was
linear
it
thinker
worth
is like-
it? Not really.
You must have people in your life. Like it's very few people are okay. So I'm sure that comedically you've probably been in, you know, when you're hiring writers or the, you know, I'm sure you've run this type of thing millions of times in your life. There's probably, I bet you 95% of the people you're like, give me all your ideas. And you're like, I thought of all of that in the first second of thinking of this problem. And then there's other people that they're very rare where they say something and you're like, oh shit. Yeah, that's amazing. Where'd you even come up with that? Most people that you hire, you're like, everything you just told me, I thought of that in that, like, yes, obviously
Yeah.
those are all options. I thought of all those.
Yeah, I
And
saw
what-
them all on Lucy like you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're just like, and then there's very few people that you call and you're kind of like looking for out of box solutions. I think a lot of politics
Like Norm, he wasn't like that.
Right.
And you're not like
and
that.
how much of politics when they're talking about, you know, you hear Democrats and Republicans arguing, you're like, yes, I know all of these things. I know all the things you're going to say. I know all the things you're going to say. I've heard all these things. You know what I mean?
All bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think I'm always like leaning towards execution is so much more important than ideas, really.
It is.
How many times
absolutely.
have you been like,
Absolutely.
I always think in art, it's like such the perfect way to look at it is you're always kind of the industry, which is very like binary thinking. They're
Yeah.
always kind of like, pitch us ideas and it'll be kind of like, okay, what about they're janitors and they work at this place? Okay, what about they're this? And they're like, no, like as if the idea matters. And that like what matters is the person who's making it, their execution, their perspective, who they can hire. I think it always reminds me, imagine if you were doing music and you were like a musician going to like a label boss and they're like, okay, what's the new song going to about you? They're like, I think I'm going to write this song about love. And they're like, I don't know. And the guy's like, okay, it's about killing someone. You're like, oh, like what the it doesn't matter. Like
Right.
what's this guy's execution? Like what's his perspective? What's the interesting part? And I think politics is a lot like that. It's too much. People talk too much about like idea versus idea. And there are ideas that are bad, but what would really be better is like the best executor will do a better job of the country and he'll actually help your problems better too. But
No shit.
when the whole thing's corrupt, this is kind of relevant. You just like if you have a bad TV show and all the writers are bad, all the staff's bad, you have a bad DP, the editor's bad. It really doesn't matter when you're two arguing over these two ideas. You're like, this is going to suck no matter who wins this little idea battle. And I think a lot of the world kind of lacks execution and too many idea conversations.
Very deep and very true.
Very, very true. And like I always said to my writers whom I forced to wear numbers, you know.
You for sure.
Do you know this?
Did they have to wear the star in the band too?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't do anything like that. But they had to wear numbers because
That's
I had this
hilarious.
suspicion because they'd come down to the run through and I'd hear them only laugh at a few jokes, and I figured out they're only laughing at the ones they wrote around me to, like, you know, artificial.
They're trying to soup it up.
Yeah,
They're
like
trying to juice their jokes.
AI, you know, like living AI. That's a great fucking joke. That one right there.
Genius. Do you know-
Genius.
Do you know Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah, I do.
You would probably know him, right? He had I used to really like his old show, The Jamie
I did
Kennedy
too.
Experiment. But he had one thing where he did exactly that. He was in a room where they were doing, he made these really bad like segments for a
I
show, and they were
saw
doing
that,
You remember that? They're doing
Yeah,
a
I
test
do.
panel,
Uh-huh.
and then everyone was like, terrible, worst thing I've seen. He goes, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
That reminds me of that. And you gave them numbers, and then if their joke was good, you
Well,
get,
I
hey,
was
7 and 8,
just-
you're switching.
I was just going, putting it in my head. And
How did the numbers help?
I'd be like, well, not number 19 laughed at such and such, so he wrote them. You know, so I was like autistic, you know.
It was
So I
easy for you to
making these
clock that.
systems for myself to figure shit out.
Part of it was also so they wouldn't get a big head, I assume. Like, you're just a number. That's what I always thought. Like, you're a factory worker.
No, because I did try to work it like a factory, and
you
of course
did run it
they
like that.
stole everything. They stole all my formulas and everything.
At a factory?
Yeah, I did try to run it like a factory.
Oh, you're saying work
because
it
I
like a
was very
factory.
inspired by Andy Warhol, so that kind of a factory, you know, Warhol.
Yeah, I
factory.
feel like that part of it is almost there's some of those things where if you kind of run a thing, everyone's going to kind of take your formula and go do it, and that's just the game. Like, you can't
Yeah.
fight it.
No,
sort
you
of like
can't.
the internet right now. If you were the first to come up with like a really good way of like synthesizing ideas and explaining someone, you're
Yep.
like, if that was really good, by nature of it being good, there's going to be a lot of people doing it in a week,
Right.
and it can
But
seem.
that's a thrill to influence.
It is what it is, yeah.
To influence and make a wave.
But I think some people, I think it's really short-sighted thinking to be kind of like, these guys you're copying me. And I think that when people are on the internet, you're kind of just like, yeah, that's going to happen. It's unfortunate, but that's just how this works.
I just like that I can originate a thought that waves through consciousness
Yeah.
and then see it, you know, how it
That's
like,
cool, yeah.
how it like evolves to different groups.
Yeah. And if you do that like 10 times in your career, you're like, that was good.
Yeah. And I've done it way more than 10.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And
just
it's
saying, like,
so
I'm saying that
fun.
would be like, if someone did that 10 times, that's good. If you did it 80 times or 150 times, you're like, well, now or 2,000 times, you're like, now I'm really crushing it.
Because I just feel like, oh, it's such a beautiful connection between me and the Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist,
God. God is Zeitgeist, right? I think.
You know what else that I
What?
was kind of thinking about that? There's some of it comes down to like a lot of times like knowing what your actual place in the zeitgeist is.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that are really good at, you know, kind of like synthesizing ideas and like, you know, like kind of a lot of the best writers are really good at just like really fleshing out an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then a really good comedian is really good at taking all that and making this into a sentence where I said all
Right,
that.
a joke.
Yeah, like synthesizing it to smaller. And then some people are really good at that. And some people are really good at like almost like evangelizing for ideas.
Right, exactly.
You know, they're almost less good at maybe coming
I
up with
always
original
use
stuff.
those people, those kind of writers, as like writing the through line, making sure a through line, you know, making sure they brought that through line because they were really good at
formulaic.
those bones, because I looked at it like a skeleton we're putting together. So those bones they brought, and it was very much a part of it.
Yeah, like there's certain people where
You know,
they're like,
adding the context and the tense to a story.
and then there's some people that are more like, you know, kind of creative geniuses that they need one of those people to sort of like house this shit and
Right.
like sell it.
Right.
Yeah, and they both kind of are needed.
Yeah, and it's cool to see the synthesis of those various kind of artists working together to produce one product.
I
That
know.
was what the factory of I liked about Andy Warhol's work, but that he did with people at the factory.
You need
And-
one crazy genius and one make it happen guy
Yeah.
to sometimes tell the crazy genius, okay, no, not that, move on, keep him going, and then just be like, oh, we can do that. I know how we'll do that, and then someone to just be kind of like, I think those are the best pairings a lot of times.
Yeah. I do too.
That's why our podcast works.
I
Yeah.
love that. I think of you as being like, I always wanted to, well, anyway, do you know, I'm
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to come up with
finish
how
the
to say it.
sentence.
Well, I started my career in Denver, Colorado in a mosh pit
Why in a mosh pit?
because I couldn't get on the regular white people stage there at the comedy clubs
Okay.
because they just thought I was too radical.
She was pretty aggressive when she started. She hadn't
as a
refined
woman.
yet. She just
I
screamed.
wasn't like they thought a woman should be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a harder path to be the person that's going to do it differently,
So I had to go to like biker bars and jazz clubs. And I'm happy now because it was so great of audiences. But yeah, I actually used to be in a mosh pit doing my act with no microphone.
Yeah, I've
That's
done those.
why I got
no
you've
microphone.
done those?
A million of those. I've done comedy every last little place
Isn't
you can
it
do
kind
it.
of like a street performer, like in
Yes,
fucking
it's exactly
pre-war
like that.
Berlin?
Yeah. I've done it outside like a street performer as well.
Do you think it's pre-war Berlin and we're doing that?
I wasn't there, so I have a hard time comparing.
No, but it's just like there's no law, there's no order,
Yeah.
and we're trying to make a point about that.
Yeah, that's when you start to do better at comedy, you're like, the one good thing is I don't have to convince them to stay. At least they're here. Like, at least they're here in their seats
Yeah.
and their bills coming that they have to pay at some point. Whereas you're in these other places, people are trying to watch they're trying to watch the game. My first probably 3 years of doing comedy was doing comedy for people that were kind of pissed off that we started doing this. They're at a bar and we start doing comedy. They're like, Jesus, fucking all right. And you're like, no, I promise. Give us two people. We'll be But
I want always to be in a punk rock band because I did sing in a punk rock band for a while. I fucking loved it. And I played at CBGB. It was a dream
cool.
come true.
That's very cool.
And anyway,
So
then
you did
I
that
heard,
before?
No, this was when this is like Andy Kaufman. She was famous and then did it.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, it was so rad.
She did at Tower Records on Sunset too. People would
Yeah.
show up and they're like, "Oh, Roseanne Barr's in a band," and then
That's
she's
hella
screaming
cool.
at
It was so fucking cool. And because I just love punk rock. And that's why, I know you were in a
Yeah, I was
punk
like a
rock
big-
band.
like ska or something.
Yeah,
ska. I love ska.
It's kind of like Southern Ontario. There's kind of this big scene of a lot of there's punk was big, ska was big, a lot of a huge reggae influence on all that. But it was all guys that kind of grew up listening to Beastie Boys and stuff. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of that in there.
So you started. I just want to do a little bio thing real quick, if you don't mind. So you started doing ska punk in Canada, right? Or that was kind of how.
I was in kind of different bands, but that was the biggest one. Yeah.
I looked
and you were
everything up.
singing,
Tell me
right?
where I'm wrong.
So I've just been doing music my whole life, and then
You used to have long hair.
So it was kind of always music and videos. I was a
Since what age?
music, since I was 7 or whatever, forced to,
Yeah?
against my will to play piano and stuff.
Why were you forced against your will to play piano?
That's just how my household was. It was these are the things you do. You play hockey and you play piano, and then you can go do your other stuff.
So
Really?
Canadian.
Dude, it was legitimately growing up. It was no, you go in the basement, you have to play piano for half an hour, and then you have to do 2,000 hockey shots on the fake ice. And then you can go do what you want. That was our Asian family make you do an extra math. That was we had to play piano and hockey shots. Legitimately, the amount of hockey I was forced to do against my will, but. And piano, I hated it. I remember some of my least favorite moments in my life was sitting at that piano bench.
Me too, because
I hated it. I had a timer. I put the timer there, and I just remember on the bench being 7 years old, just being I hate this so much. I want to go skateboard, whatever. I just hated it.
me and my sister, we had this teacher, Mr. Marcroft, and he had the worst BO and breath. ever. And he'd come to our house because we had to take piano too.
Yeah, it sucks. But then I started playing guitar and drums, and then whatever. I'm glad I can play piano now, I guess, whatever.
Oh, that is awesome that you can play piano.
I know. I think that they're right. That I think there is some benefit of, piano is good for the brain and all that sort of stuff.
I'm forcing
Yeah.
my daughter to play piano. I'm not joking.
Want to know an interesting thing?
Jake plays piano.
So I'm like, probably I spend a huge amount of my time editing, and I have my whole life, making videos and editing.
Well, I just want to get to this.
It helps, right?
Well, I'll just say this. We'll finish that
Okay.
one sentence. Is
Okay.
that I've hired a million editors, and I've never met a really great editor that wasn't a musician.
Yeah. It's the
Oh,
same
yes,
thing.
I
Not one.
get that. I
Timing
get that.
and math.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and
I know.
patterns.
synchronicity and timing, right?
Yeah.
And frequency, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the shit?
Yeah.
Frequency. What the fuck is all this shit about frequency? Am I right?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Honestly.
Yeah?
And I really do think of like editing a video like that. It's like you have, your kind of audios like the drums, and then, the talking becomes sort of like the rhythmic components. And then you sort of, you have to have a pacing. And if you break your pacing, that has to be on purpose. Like, I think that, I don't know. There's a reason why a lot of the best comedians, like not even comedians that do like video stuff, like on the street stuff, comedians that do like sketches. So many of the best ones were musicians. So many of the best shows, the head editor that, there's a lot of these big comedy shows like that you look in the editor. Not in a sitcom's a little different because those things will operate a little different. I'm talking about more like sketch, especially when there's like a music cue component.
Yeah.
You look at like the 5 biggest ones, and like all of it, you go look at the guy that was in charge of editing that, and he was like a big musician.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
No, it makes total sense.
I wish people could watch my Saturday night special.
I don't know where it is.
I think I had 11 episodes before Fox took me down.
It was a sketch show.
Yeah. Saturday
And
night,
it was
she went against
opposite
SNL.
Saturday Night Live. And Lorne Michaels, the shit he did to me was unfucking believable.
Interesting.
I'm going to write about it in my new book coming
Oh,
out.
because you were the enemy.
Yeah, the shit he did,
RICO.
it was...
Lauren's dirty like that,
No,
huh?
it's gaslighting, putting clones in places.
Whoa.
Fake info, CIA shit. Fuck yeah.
So he was really operating like a mob guy.
He was taking out his competition, which you got to respect, I was
You're saying the game's the game.
the game's the game, and I was, I was just...
What's the kind of stuff he did?
My thing was just excellence. And
But
of course
yeah.
that failed.
It
As
does sometimes.
Who
always
owns
does.
the rights to that show? Like, I don't even know where we'd
Can you
find
get it back?
I think I own it with Fox. I need to get a lawyer that won't charge me $900,000 to make $20,000.
Yes.
Isn't it? Lawyers, my rabbi that taught me a lot of Kabbalah, he was a lovely man, and he loved everyone. Like he would say, love is the answer to everything. We've got to love, love, the power of love, blah, blah.
Okay.
And it's kind of, it's
Okay.
true. He was wonderful.
He was.
And,
Do you think that's true?
huh?
Do you think love's the answer to everything?
I do. It's the most powerful force.
That's why it never works, because no one can do that. No one can love someone they hate. You can't do it. But it would work. It would save everything, but it's impossible.
No, it isn't impossible.
I can't love someone that I disagree with. I can't do it. I know I'm supposed to, but I'm not going to.
Can with
Just being
a
honest.
simple change of mind.
I think there's a way to do that where it's not you
It's
kind
like
of you
this.
raise above it where it's like even think about we're talking about the rap
That's
beat
what
says
I
it the
said
last time.
before.
Wait.
You go, hey, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I won't do that anymore.
Well, what if you don't think you're wrong?
Well, then you're never going to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
But that's the problem.
What if you aren't wrong?
Yeah, that's what my karma is. That's what I was going to tell
The
you about
curse
my
of never being
rabbi.
wrong.
That's the story
No,
of my
my
life.
rabbi, let me finish this. So my rabbi said, which one was it that he said?
Which rabbi?
No, Rabbi Rav. He said something about
Shuli.
No,
Fuck no.
not Shmuley.
Fuck Shmuley.
Shmuley,
He
yeah.
was
I
more
hate that
my
guy.
friend than my rabbi. But the Rav told me about. I'm totally lost it.
Think about it. I just want to say Shmuley is the worst thing that
But he said love.
happened to
You
Jews.
were talking about love.
He
Adolf
was
Hitler.
all about love.
Yeah.
But here's what he said to me. You want to hear my favorite joke? He goes, a bus goes off the side of a cliff with 29 lawyers on it. What's the tragedy involved in this? I go, I don't, well, that, 29 souls have been lost. No, that there was one empty seat. But he was all about love. But yeah, the lawyer thing, that's some shit, ain't it?
Yeah, it's a very law-oriented society.
Lawfare.
It's interesting. I mean, one thing probably the one thing about it that I'm conflicted about is it's just like crazy to me to some degree, where you're like, you could be like a normal person and worked your whole life and you have like, maybe like 800 grand in the bank, and then someone just like sues you for all your money, and then you're just like broken. It's like I'm kind of messed up because you like said something.
Yeah.
Like that to me is just like, I don't know. It's just like messed up.
Isn't that fucking awful?
Yeah. It's just like that shit kind of like keeps you on edge,
Yeah. And that they like to do it.
Yeah,
they like to do it to you.
Yeah, and then even if you're right, they can just like tie you up in court,
Yeah, they love that.
That shit is kind of scary.
It's terrifying. They're doing it now. I mean,
don't you think that? Like, what about all these protesters? What's your thoughts on these fucking Nazi motherfuckers? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's like, in this specific one, I mean, a lot of them, but there's so many different people on the same sides. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, there's
the
people
gays,
that are
with the Jews, with the Arabs.
Yeah,
with the
there's people that are there for different reasons. There's people that have been like, this has been their whole deal forever, and you know what I mean. I'm like an anti-war person, and then there's just a college kid hopping on the newest thing. Oh, we're Palestine now. You know what I mean? Okay, sick. Then there's just people that it's like, whatever's the least white I'm for. Like there's just kind of, so it's hard to like cast it all together. There's so many, which is why, to be honest, sometimes it's like hard to parse this out because there's so many different people that are on the same side. So to be honest, this sort of like broke up the whole structure of how society was sort of operating for the last 6 years in a lot of ways.
So I say it's cross-faction.
That's true.
It's a cross-faction because there's people on the right and left now that agree.
Yeah.
That are anti-Israel or whatever.
Well,
side.
A lot of these people are just libertarian. They're anti-war. Like, it's kind
which
of
makes sense.
Those
the
groups are sort of
libertarians,
conflicted.
I mean, I don't really want to offend them because when I ran as the candidate of the Green Party, which I should have won, but Jill Stein cheated me out of the nomination.
Okay.
Let's just say that. They rigged their fucking election because they didn't want a working class woman. They wanted a doctor.
They wanted sort of, they're sort of like an elitist party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got so many people.
The environment shit is for fancy people.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It really is, which is weird. I don't know why they...
so many
pants
people
cause.
that
why is
sign
that?
up for the Green Party, and then they screwed
Fancy
them
pants.
and me.
Well, why is that an elite, the environment an elitist cause? Because it would seem like it would be the opposite.
Well, because they want to kill it.
That's what I'm saying. Like an industrial...
It's elitist to go...
making money off of it.
I just call it all Monsanto Inc.
Monsanto. should be referring to.
Monsanto Inc. Because they're anti-life. They want to kill.
Yeah. But
They need
they're
to
the ones that are
depopulate.
pro-environment, at least on the surface, which is a
They
weird fancy
need
pants.
slaves, and they need to depopulate.
I think it's hard to get. I mean, it's easier to get like a working class person on board with like, hey, we need to get you more money. Your race is being, fucked over than it is to be like the rainforest. Like it's just a more like ethereal, sort of topic. I mean, that's like, you're in college and I don't know. I think it's also it's hard to get dudes to care so much about that. I mean, and also I think there is this other part where it's like the solutions a lot of times are like, you're like, this is going to cause so much damage for what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And I think that it's hard to get people that have like real problems on board with those kind of,
Fantasies.
Fantasies a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, it's just like I could see that if you're just like, I'm rich, my parents are rich, I grew up, I'm in the fancy college, you're like, that's like a sexy cause to be like, I care about the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
you
know?
don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
It is
right?
kind of sexy though. And it's
No, it
also
is.
like, you're not really like getting in the muck of anything. You're not talking about race. You're not talking about, you're just like, we need to save the tree. Like that just is it.
Yeah.
It's like a sexier kind
Yeah,
of.
forget
good
the
point.
Congo where they chop off children's arms because they don't bring up the diamonds fast enough. Forget that shit. This Palestine thing,
Yeah.
where there's 57 fucking Arab states, none of them which will take any Palestinian in.
Yeah.
Did you see the
Fuck
border
you.
wall at Egypt today?
Huh?
I've never seen an actual picture of the border wall of Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wall, like,
All those
and then there's
Palestinians,
razor wire above
the
it. so 20 feet high.
Palestinians are almost all about 90% Egyptian with Egyptian passports.
Jordanian.
And Jordanian and Syrian. And that's what the wall is, to force them there
Yeah.
to have
What
a
do you think-
cudgel against Israel.
Do you know what I find that like when
It's
I'm
just
talking
a Nazi
Is
world
that,
order.
nicotine? Yeah.
What you got? Oh, you don't have
Zin.
anything to smoke?
No,
That's better than
All
smoking.
right.
It doesn't. I won't.
It just Zins. I don't like smoking. It screws my voice up.
How'd you like your gig the other night, last night?
We sold out 4 shows in Austin. It was great.
4 shows in last night?
No, 2 last night, 2 Friday. We did 4. Yeah, I was pumped. No, I'm stoked. That was the last show of my tour. So I've been on tour for like 8 months straight almost, and now I'm like going to New York for 3 months, and I'm just gonna like work on stuff, and I'm kind of pumped about it.
I want to go see you in New York. I think
Yeah.
you're right about New York.
trying to get him
I
here.
mean, New York is the fucking hub of comedy and always was. So it'd be
Austin's a
good
vibe,
if you.
Yeah, I get why
It'd be
people are
cool
moving
to
here.
have them both like, commiserate back.
I think
and
that's
forth.
what's going to happen. I think that
Yeah.
is. It's kind of they're funneling to each other, but
I try to. It sounds like whimsical, but like I kind of feel like to some degree I go with my gut. Like I've considered moving to LA and Austin or whatever, and like for some reason I just feel like New York's where I should be. Like I don't know. I like New York. I'm from Toronto. It kind of reminds me of Toronto. And then now it's kind of too late. Now, I have a studio there. I convinced all my friends to move there. Like I have my crew there
Can't
now.
leave.
Yeah.
I love the Comedy Cellar. I love, Williamsburg Comedy Club, the Stand, New York Comedy Club. Like I like the
didn't
vibe.
want to leave New York. I told.
Can I tell you one more thing?
Yes.
That I've always the smaller the scene, the more it becomes one thing. And so, the same reason why if you go to a place like Portland, it's like the most one thing more than New York, even though people say New York, talk about New York like it's all just like, hippie activists, but it's not really, right? So I like places that are big enough to have multiple things because it doesn't start being too like doctrine oriented. It doesn't mean like we all think this. Like I feel like when it's too small, it starts to become too hive mind. So I think I like the biggest place for that reason.
I would say New York is, just from my observation, much more hive mind.
Well, I'm talking about strictly art scenes, so I'm talking about the comedy scene.
I
will also argue you on that too.
I want to go.
I was
and hang
impressed
out
by
at
the comedy scene there.
the comedy scene with you because I would love.
You were
if
so
there-
fun that night,
if there
dude.
was
She's the
New
best.
York shit.
Remember that? Yeah, people. It's so funny
Was
because you're
that where I
like you're
passed
such
out?
not a stereotype of a Jewish woman.
Yeah.
Like you're out there. She's like partying. Like she's so drunk, and then she's like I just come outside. You're just like talking to all these homeless people,
Yeah.
like getting a cigarette. That's the least Jewish woman shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Remember when she fell
Like getting
asleep?
a cigarette from the homeless.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I ain't proud.
Do you remember when she fell asleep at the bar and you're like sitting there and you're like, this is a lot of fun, and mom was over on
Yo,
the
you're
phone.
rock and roll.
Well, I'm punk rock like you.
Yeah.
Ain't it all?
That was-
That's what I thought.
Angie Styles, I liked it, dude.
Trump
You're cool.
is kind of punk rock in a way.
Yeah.
Do you agree or no? Some don't.
I don't think punk rock. No. Explain it to me, and I'll tell you if I agree.
Counterculture. Is that what you mean? Edgy.
Getting a bow and arrow and aiming right to the heart of the fucking beast.
Well, here's where maybe to me it's like a little less punk rock is because I think he represents like what half the country feels. And to me, punk rock would be more like representing, more of like a tenth of the people and then convincing that to be half the people.
That's what I'm thinking exactly.
Yeah,
because
but I don't think he
it
did
is
that. I think he I think the people existed and he just filled the void. So maybe that would be like punk once it has its
corporate
culmination of like where Blink-182 is the most famous band, and now that's the mainstream for a second.
Yeah.
But I don't see him as like being completely counterculture. I mean, you know, he was a big. I see him as more really good at speaking. You know, he's really good at taking shots at the enemy, and he's decided that he's going to take their enemy and take shots at them. But I don't know if I totally see that as punk rock. I see that maybe more as like, I don't know, maybe the positive version of it is you're like, he's a good like soldier if he chooses to be your soldier. And then the bad part of it would be, you'd say it's opportunist. Those would be probably the two sides of it, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's why I thought you're
well,
people say it's self-serving, but I don't think
mean
that's
that it really, really
necessarily.
upsets the establishment. You know, punk rock in that way.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, where you've got 3 chords on a fucking electric guitar and you're wailing about class.
Yeah.
You know, that thing.
I guess it's interesting. Like, there's kind of 2 arguments on that, and I kind of see both sides. I don't know where exactly I sit, but is the Republicans are also an establishment, you know?
Yeah, fuck
100%.
the Republicans.
They hate him too.
Mom, every man knows how scary it's going to get for him around summer when he starts getting hairy down there. I don't really like to talk to my mother about this, but I'm trying to find a pleasant way to mention this to you. You know what I'm talking about? When you're
I know I do. Not every man has children, but every man is responsible for their 2 boys below the waist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're talking about hairy balls.
Yeah, hairy balls. When his little guys have more hair than they need, make sure he trusts Manscaped for all his grooming dreams. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com and use the code word Roseanne for 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code Roseanne at manscaped.com. Your boys will be back in town.
I love it. And they have the lawnmower family. That's the lawnmower 3.0, the 4.0, and the 5.0 Ultra available. 3 different kinds of ball trimmers. So you're covered.
It's so thoughtful to trim up your testes when you're going, you know, when you're trying to be in a romantic mood.
Yeah.
There's nothing grosser than, you know, long ball hair.
I agree. And also, as a man who has to shave his balls from time to time, I have a hair trimmer, same thing I do my hair with, well, what's left of it, and it's very scary and painful, and I have nicked myself. So the reason I really like Manscaped, this needs to be said, not only is it
pain-free.
It's pain-free. It will not hurt your skin. It has all sorts of technology to avoid any pain. So you can
be very
nick-free
well
shave your
groomed
balls.
and not look like a crazy caveman.
Yeah, and not do accidental bottom surgery. Right?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, thank you.
Today was the first day I showered in 2 months.
Let's do the Charlie side for that. They're gonna be really happy. So you know, usually I have to prompt you on some of these, but it seems like you actually not only like this product, you've been using it, and you said you just used it and you just showered. So this is breaking news on the Roseanne Barr podcast.
I did. I used their shower gel and
Yeah.
their after shower lotion.
So when's the last time you showered?
Today.
Before today.
Oh, before today was 2 months.
Okay, so Charlie's really works because you look absolutely great. You don't look like.
This is the stuff I used on my face today.
What does it do? Because they give me a script, but just tell me because you're using.
I don't know. Look at my skin. It looks like my skin is fresh.
Yeah.
I have these 2 things on it. This face toner serum.
Yeah.
And then I put on the anti-aging serum, which takes the place of makeup.
And we talked to her on the phone.
Yeah, she was nice.
But this is what I liked about her because I don't want to give her whole story away, but she's very, very concerned with health, and you know, she had a person very close to her get very, very sick with cancer. So when she launched this line, she actually went out of her way to make. You know, we can sell toners all day
and
long,
she
but
loves
this is
America.
But this is importantly, this is toxin free. Mm-hmm. This is stuff that doesn't kill you. She started looking into what she was putting in her body when someone close to her got sick, and she started to realize that this shit I'm using is really, really dangerous. When you read the back of a lot of makeup products, it's not good shit. So this Charlize stuff, not only does it work,
this is Planned Parenthood fetus free.
It has no fetus meat, and she she
don't work with Planned Parenthood to put fetus meat in any of this.
yeah, and there's antioxidants in there. There's stuff that like free radicals. I don't even understand the science of it. She blew me away. But the point is, she said, I'm launching a makeup line that won't kill you. So not only does it work and you look
That's
great, but
novel.
it's safe and healthy. I thought it was kind of cool. Like, why are you selling? Why do people in this country sell products that kill you?
Head to charlies.beauty/RB and use the code RB to save big today. For a limited time, you can get 20% off the entire Charlie's store when you use the code RB at charlies.beauty/RB. So what you waiting for? Treat yourself or a loved one to the gift of radiant, calm skin with the Charlie's Beauty products. Head to charliesbeauty/RB and use the code RB to save big today. And you, yes you, could maybe look half as good as me if you really try.
And that's Charlize, I think. It's CHARLIS for those listening to the audio portion podcast.
Yeah,
But,
that's why
you
I
know,
like it.
but it's it's not the Republic. It's like I say, and nobody. I mean, how did this devolve? I wanted to try to be funny until you ask about your comedy, but
No, but you're talking about like, do you see? So you see Trump as sort of like, fighting the power, and I think that a lot of people do, and I see that, but I
Yeah.
guess I more see him as like there's like I see him more as like market based, where it's like to him he's like, hey, there's a market for half the country would love if I fucking killed that guy.
I know, and that's true. I could see that.
And he was
too.
like, they're
I
going
can
to
see
love
that.
me if I kill their enemy. And I think that maybe that I would, if I was to guess, like lie detector, like God could tell you only what's in his soul. I bet you it's closer to that.
I would have to agree
No,
with you years
because
ago.
Well, I don't know. I'm not
It's a
BLM.
theory. I thought that too.
I found out for myself. I need a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know what's in
I found
people's
out for
soul.
myself. You realize that everything is a spiritual journey, right?
Yeah,
You're not very
so can be.
spiritual, or are you?
Well,
I mean,
maybe
you kind of are.
I think I am, but maybe I just use different words for it, if that makes
What
sense.
do you
Spiritual
use?
is like you're girling it up, and I don't really
I
want
am
that title.
girling it up. I hate that word too. I think it's too girly. What's a better one? Help me.
In touch with energy. So
Yes.
I do think of things a lot of times, especially when I'm trying to do like my things I do. I really do. Kanye West a long time ago kind of talked about how he he thinks of music like colors or whatever. And
Right.
But I think I do sort of know what he means. And
I
it's
do
like
too.
you look at things in energy and there's energy pockets, right?
Right.
But then I think that is, you can think of it as like spiritual, even like a lot of times what people say is spiritual. It's like, when people say like The Secret, where they're kind of talking about it, like, you manifest something. It's like, well, yeah, that's like a whimsical way to look at it. But the other way to look at it is like, if you think about something nonstop and that's your goal and everything in your life serves you getting there, you're going to be more likely to get there,
Yeah.
which of course is true. It doesn't have to be like a whimsical thing.
No, but it's about focus.
That's what he's
Power
saying.
of
Yeah, it's
focus,
about
right?
focus, and then all of every decision you make, everything you read, every person
Yeah.
you're around, everything in your life starts to service this goal, and then you become more likely to achieve it. And I think that's like
That's
obvious.
right.
And then you let other things go, right? Because I think that's the biggest part about when people start talking about that. You're like, this is what I want to accomplish. And then you go, what about this? So much of like, especially once things start going well, or once your company's doing well, or your business, or people are listening to you, it's like, how do I kill the noise? Because it becomes so much noise. And then the real thing is, so if you're like, hey, my goal is to, have a really great wife and a family and this and that, it's like everything will start to service that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's an energy.
If
Then it
you're
becomes an
living
energy
that
thing.
way and putting your focus into it,
And then it becomes
it'll
the energy,
manifest.
because you
Yeah.
can't intellectually do all of that. It has to at some point be like, there's so much energy on stage. It's all energy. You're like, okay, you're kind of like, I'm sure a lot of like fighters feel this way, right?
I bet they do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a manly way to look at it.
Yeah.
We're like boxers,
I think the boxer
not
thing.
spiritual.
Like I
it's-
used to
boxing
take
is spiritual.
I used
The
to
most spiritual.
ask Mike Tyson to show me boxing shit. and he would.
I bet you he thinks about it somewhat the same way.
It's energy. It's moving energy.
Martial arts is
I
the most
mean,
spiritual thing in the
Yeah,
world.
martial arts is
Yeah,
energy.
exactly, right? So
is.
I think I think of what I do, it's more like energy.
I remember
trying to
my
capture
first
it.
energy lesson. That was from a African woman there in San Francisco in, what was it, 1982.
She was from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I think so many people talk about like whether someone's like, they use the word like grifter and, those kind of things. And I've always think of it, the best way to describe whether like what would be like a good, artist or commentator is like, do they replace the energy that they took?
Yeah, that's right.
Like so many people, there's people that take energy. They're like, oh, that's energy. And they sort of take it. And then there's people that like take energy, but then they also give more than they took, which maybe in the, like what you're saying, like in new ideas or, in new ways of thinking about it or, cracking a new way for people to, let's say they're trying to solve a problem in business, like an easier way to, do banking, whatever it might be. Right. And I think the people that put more back in than they take a lot of times. I mean, not a lot of show. You're just like, I hope I, gave these people more energy than I took money from them. Then you're like, okay, then everyone wins.
Yeah, because you got that, you have that feeling of karmic responsibility and debt both.
Yeah.
Like, because you kind of know you're gifted, don't you? And then you're kind of grateful that you're gifted and creative is the better word.
I think you're more gifted than I am because and I don't even necessarily mean that as self-depreciative.
No, but I mean creative.
But I think there's there's different types of people. Because like kind of the same where I was saying where there's different types of writers. I think there's certain people that just have like you have that I now like being around you. You have probably like a magnetism and like a star power that I think that people probably don't always know when you're just on TV or on podcasts. I'm sure it comes across, but like it's pretty obvious. I think I have that I'm fairly good at everything. And I think that comes together to be like what I am as a, I think there's some people that maybe I probably would have been maybe equally as good at like if I decided to be a lawyer or whatever. And I think there's certain people that just have like a specific star power that's so like important in this, where I think I maybe have like a high level of that, but not like an exceptional level of that. Probably more than your average person, but I don't think I have. There's certain people on stage where you're like, that person's jokes have to be funnier and that person's jokes can be worse and he'll still do better. Yeah. I think I'm this first one.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I mean, I kind of think it's exciting.
That's how I see myself. Yeah, but I think a lot of times.
I think it's exciting for you to think about like getting in there in New York and creating some new kind of energy.
Yeah. And this is.
What do you want to do?
Well, I think that the energy thing, in my opinion, is such a good way to look at that question because I think it's like maybe in my opinion. Oh, what do we got? A kid or a dog? What do we got?
Look at my wife just gave birth like 6 days ago.
Oh, this is number one.
Crawling on all fours to get my mom.
I was wondering what's going on here.
I wish I could film. Hold on, I'm going to film this.
The crawling bartender. Let's go. I'm okay. Thank you,
Hannah. Thank you very much, love.
Thank you, Hannah.
Oh, can I get more
Let's go.
wine, please? I've waited my whole life for this.
Haven't you? You
That's
better
great.
not blow it with your fucking bullshit.
What a system we got going on
Yeah,
here.
right?
Isn't she the best? Hannah, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay.
No, I want to say something. I think that's really fascinating how you look at yourself. I happen to think you're brilliant and exceedingly talented because I have a video pulled up. I'm not going to play it now, but I just want you guys to know I still to this day think this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen.
It's so genius.
Do you remember
It's
this?
just
Yeah, of course,
one of your.
So-
it's only one of your geniuses.
You do a million things, but this is the smartest thing I've ever seen.
Like a theory.
I love Scott. He's been on here.
Yeah, he has a lot of good theories, and he was kind of sort of talking about, there's certain like there's like I might be, if you're like in the first percentile or 99, however you look at it, like percentile of guys who can make videos. And then you're like one of the best at, kind of understanding culture. And then you're one of the funniest people. That all manifests to you can do that better than anyone. So you actually can be the best at something without being the best at one thing.
Right.
So maybe that's how I see it. Yeah.
I think you're brilliant. And for people
a
that
lot
don't
of-
know,
What do you want to do, though?
Well, that's where.
can we talk about this video just so people know, or just?
But I want to ask
Well,
him
one second,
first
yeah.
what he wants to do.
I think that probably about 10 years ago, I realized that the what do you want to do question should be more for me or anyone nowadays, especially. It should be sort of like a direction, where you want to go and what feels right.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as they start putting like things to that,
Yeah.
I think you make bad decisions. Like there was a point in my life where all I wanted to do was do like a on the street messing with people TV show.
Yeah.
That's like all I want to do. I wanted to have my bigger than the Ali G show. Like I wanted to do that. That was like, I was obsessed with that. But I was obsessed with that at a time when like TV was like not mattering. There was almost like no avenue for that. Guys like me weren't even like in the conversation like that, where I was. So you start like chaining yourselves to these like things that are just real world things.
You are like the Gentile Ali G.
You can put that on your bio. If you want. No,
He made some of the funniest shit in the world. But Tom Green was the guy who started all of this.
Tom Green is a genius. I need to get Tom Green on here.
I don't know what he's doing.
I
He'd be
always
awesome.
promised to go on his show, but I never found it
Yeah, I'm sure you and him would
workable.
be great together.
I love him.
Yeah, he's the best. So, but it's just like that type of satire. I think I'm like, I really love that like version of satire. But
How does that come in your head? Do you just get these crazy fucking ideas, or how does your process
like the messing
work?
with people stuff.
Huh?
You know what? This is a funny thing this is like an American thing, and I hate it. I feel like I say it too much, but
I
it's
was
like
going to say, what's the difference between American and Canadian audience?
this isn't just Canadian; it's everywhere. But like,
okay.
I think that stuff is more normal the rest of the world. Like, even if you think about America, like all the biggest people that did like Man on the Street or kind of messing with people, they all aren't American, because I don't think Americans do satire the same way. So I think that art form, which will never be the biggest thing in the world, but I think it's like even like fake news shows, like even the SNL news desk. Lorne Michaels is Canadian, Like, it's like, so all of the American versions of like satire they're not American, right?
Right, that's
Americans,
true.
in my opinion, and I hate always just
Or
like,
they're UK.
yeah, I feel like sometimes people don't care about this because Americans don't care about this topic, but like I think about it a lot as someone that moved here. But Americans, there's more of themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
So if Americans do a joke, you kind of know their opinion. If Americans do satire, whereas I think that type of satire, you can't be there.
Right.
So you almost have to not be part of it.
Right.
Like you can't be like, I know what the guy who wrote this thought. And I think that's more of Americans have a more like importance, which the good part of that, in my opinion, which I have a bit of too, and I like America for that reason. It's like, that's why you create the greatest things. Like you need a self-importance and you need to think that you matter to do the greatest things in the world.
I really think that America is going through that shit right now. So that's why I want to come to New York and hang out, because it's like trying to create the new normal. And you know it has to come out of New York.
Interesting.
It has to. It always does. Because the new normal coming from the West Coast on is fucking
West Coast is always a little derivative.
degenerate.
It's not always a little. It's completely derivative. 100%.
It's completely derivative
There's no soul
and
there.
degenerate.
Yeah. That's why I
It's
hate
completely degenerate.
Yeah,
Have
and then
you
also
noticed?
that's
It's
like,
opportunistic is what it is.
yeah, it's more commercial.
100%.
It's like we're okay with having homeless people shit on the streets. It's that. We're okay with having that in front of our fanciest hotels.
Yeah.
Why not? We're privileged. We just step over them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking fascist.
Just hire someone to clean it up. That's what you do. You get
No,
someone to clean
that's
the
what
shit
I
up.
got in a war with that goddamn manager at that place where I broke my knee and I had to live in San Francisco for
Would you
3
get them-
months.
What about the people
hotel.
outside?
I go, get somebody to clean this shit up when I'm trying to get my car. Human feces is
I
everywhere.
always think of that when like there's that notorious B.I.G. song where he dedicates it to all the the teachers that told him he couldn't do it and all that. And then one of the things he's like, all the people that called the cops on me when I was like selling crack inside their building. And you're like, I mean, kind of fair though.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if I was doing, I've been doing illegal stuff lots of times in my life. Yeah, you're like, you don't like it at the time, but a few days later, you're like, fair.
Yeah,
I was filming and causing shit at that Walmart. Not that crazy that they kicked me out.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, but there isn't any self-awareness. That's what's fucking freaks. Like, well, break the law or uphold the law. It's all the same. Well, no, it ain't.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Well, I always think, what's funny? because I feel like we have to have so many conversations about like where do you stand politically or where are you on this? But I think that no one ever talks about the fact that,
sense.
but also you could have a different thing that you want versus what would be better for the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what would probably be better for me? Like, well, I moved to America because it's more free. That's what's better for me. And you can, but that might, I might not think that they shouldn't have like a safety net or this and that, but like, so it's kind of like for everyone, it's like, what do I want? What would be the perfect society for me? And that doesn't always align with what would be the best for everyone. And then you kind of try to find a medium between those, but we never separate those two. Like, where would you thrive the best? You know what I mean? What society would you thrive the best in? And then what society was probably the best? That's why it's like a lot of times when people have like pirate lifestyles, like comedians, like you're like, I think that we should be able to do this like crazy life. You should be able to tell your parents, I'm going to go do this insane thing, you know, whatever, right?
Not for everybody.
That doesn't mean everyone should do it. So there's always, we never separate those two things of like what's best for you versus like what's actually probably the best normal morals to have for like your average person.
I love how the Amish do it. When you turn 18, you
have to grow a
get
beard.
a free year of total freedom to go live amongst the English and do whatever
Do you
the
know
fuck
about
you
this?
want.
Breaking Amish? Do you know about
Yeah,
this?
and then a lot of them don't go back, right?
Well, that's their choice. They have the option to go out and experience, and if they come back, then they're there for life. And if they don't, it's like if you love
And you
someone.
That's how
probably
it
you lose
should
the
be.
people that were too pirate for this lifestyle.
Yeah, that's how it should be everywhere,
Works
I
out.
think. Should be that way for the Jews.
Yeah.
If you're
And
going to go
libertarians.
all the way communist, I'm sorry, but you can't be a Jew anymore because you all believe in Lucifer. Marx dedicated his works to Lucifer. You cannot be a Jew.
Is that true?
Yeah. You cannot be a Jew and worship Lucifer. Hence, you're a fucking commie. You're getting shipped out to the fucking Ukraine. You're going to be drafted. All you motherfucking Antifa BLM commie bastards that have been trained by the Obama and Bush and Biden Association, y'all are just getting ready to get drafted to the Ukraine. You're going to fight Russia. You're going to lose. Here's to you. Congrats for voting Democrat, you stupid motherfuckers.
Well said. Ryan, can you tell me about your YouTube page? I want to make sure we plug before you leave because
I've never voted ever, actually.
good.
You know what? I said that once at a dinner with presidents.
You said I never voted for the president?
Yeah, I said to Jimmy Carter, you're the only one I ever voted for. I never voted for another president in my life.
Yeah.
And this
What did you
guy-
like about him?
Well, at the time, I liked that he was kind of seemed like a simple man that had some ethics. That's what I thought at the time.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And he
Plus,
seems
I
to
like
have done
peanuts.
that. Yeah, he's a peanut farmer, but he seems to have lived that life. I mean, I think he's sincere in it.
Is
Whatever.
he still alive?
Yeah, he's building homes for fucking homeless people. And
He does that once a year, he told me.
But he was a shitty president. I mean, let's be honest. I know
well,
a lot of
I
people
like
disagree.
that he told Americans, put on a sweater, turn
I don't
the
like
heater
that.
down.
You don't tell Americans to turn your thermostat down and put on a sweater. You're
That's
in the wrong
true.
country, you fucking
That's
commie.
socialism.
Seriously, this is America.
I say blow up the whole fucking weather system. That's what America should do. How do you see America? I mean, what are you thinking of when you're watching all the shit on campus? I mean, don't you just love Hamas?
There's definitely a whole faction of that protest that are like, they're getting carried away. But I mean, I think of when you're watching this stuff, and if you looked at culture for the last 6 years, you just see how easy people are to be like, you think this now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I kind of think of it myself where I'm like, you know, I've probably been with girls where I'm like, I could have made this girl think anything.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I could be fairly, you know, influential on people's thinking sometimes. And I've had people around me in that way. So I try to look at things the way they are. And then if you go,
That's
okay.
hard.
Yeah, and if you go, okay, so if everyone's very influential and these people are all kind of just, you know, hearts and minds that can be shaped one way or the other, it's hard to get mad at the hearts and minds sometimes. So I understand the people, but I try not to. You're like, this is just a person, you know. They could have went the other way too, and that their hearts and minds got shaped. And people are, if you're losing the hearts and minds battle, that sucks. But to me, I'm like, I like America
That's very well said.
America has a free like even think about all the canceling stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
you know, everyone wanted, you know, there's a lot of people that want the government to solve it and get involved in this. But like, in my opinion, the markets did solve it. Like it got solved. Like it happened. And what happened was the industry went this really way. It sort of, you know, started tanking a little bit. All of these other industries emerged. All these comedians started podcasts. All these comedians became YouTube channels. If you look right now, the 10 biggest, you know, comics or, you know, commentators, they all run their own little thing. And it's over. Like in a lot of ways, I think we all still have, you know, and you obviously went through like a huge thing that I think we all have, like almost like, you know, when you were like beat, you have like, you know, someone that was like bit by a dog, you're like a little scared of a dog, but it's like now, like think about what happened with like Huberman like a month ago. Like he got, you know, people were like the big expose that he's, you know, got a roster of girls, which if anything makes him better at time management. Right.
That's what I think.
And then it's gone. And I think that, well, because what are you going to take away? He doesn't have a job and people don't care. You lost the people doing that stuff, lost the hearts and minds. So, I mean, it's up for you to be right and then have the free market and then get the hearts and minds back. And I think that's what
you put things so well.
Oh, thank you. Well, so I'm trying to be like optimistic too, because I am sort of optimistic that like when people are kind of like comedy got ruined, I'm like, comedy didn't get ruined. It's better now. It just got rejigged.
Yeah.
And
what do you think of Jerry Seinfeld going the left killed comedy?
I love Jerry Seinfeld going back on interviews and talking about comedy because there's certain guys like Jimmy Carr's like this. They're like these statesmen of comedy that just think about comedy so much that I think it's when you're really in it every day, like this is your whole life, I'm doing comedy. It's like you have I think you have a little less time to like pontificate over the little intricacies. Like you do more doing and less thinking about it, you know? But I think that there's some people that they have really good comedy opinions. So I actually like that they're out there talking about them because I like listening to like Jerry Seinfeld, what he thinks about comedy.
I do too, but I don't like that.
But what did you say? What did he do that you don't like? Or are you talking about something specific?
No, now he's coming out. Well, he didn't back my mom up.
Defend me at all.
Were you friends?
No, but it's like
you just think in general.
Because
He didn't.
What did he say?
He said, "I've never seen a career destroyed in one tweet." That was his whole comment on her cancellation. And now he's like, "The left has ruined comedy." Well, fuck you. We've been telling you this for years. You didn't stand up. Now he's acting like Johnny Come Lately.
An unusual sort.
Well, whatever.
He's the most like elitist, smug Upper West Side
100%.
New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're, you know, don't have like smart opinions about certain things.
No, he does have
talking
smart
about
opinions. Just why come up now?
the struggle to be Jewish for 3,000 years. I thought that was very cool that he did that.
There's a lot of cool things about Seinfeld, but it's again like, why are you coming now? Like to say now, I think leftists have ruined comedy. That's not edgy.
They all let me swing by the neck.
Yeah. Fuck you. Where were you when we needed you?
No, I mean, they all let me. And then
They were scared.
when Iran attacks Israel, which was the subject of my tweet that I got fired for by anti-Semite Disney and Sarah Gilbert and what's her name that went to Epstein Island? What's her name? Wanda Sykes.
Allegedly.
No, she's on the manifest.
Allegedly. The manifest is, there's arguments about whether
She's on it.
She's on one of the internet manifests. We don't know if it's the legit manifest.
Trust me, the bitch went there.
Oh, I'm sure she
We'll give you the other
Trust
side of
me,
it. Jerry Seinfeld wrote hard for Kramer.
She's a big fat lesbian.
He did write hard for
all
Kramer.
the big fat lesbians. Huh?
No, he makes a good point. Seinfeld backed Michael Richards, who actually said the hard ER word.
Do you remember that?
Right.
That when after he,
No,
I saw this the other
remember.
day. I saw this the other day. Kramer went on. It might have been like Fallon or Kramer.
I love that you're calling him Kramer.
Michael Richards.
No, call him Kramer.
That'll pay
Well, easy for you to say. Your show's called Roseanne.
What was he on?
So he went on a show to apologize, and he was like real broken up by this. And then
it
the
destroyed
audience
him.
kept laughing.
At his
And then
apology?
he was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this here. And the audience kept laughing and no one knew what to do. And the host was like, can everyone stop laughing? This is a serious thing. And everyone kept laughing.
Poor guy. What actually happened?
What did
Do we
he
know the
say?
story?
That he just snapped and
Do you want me to quote it word
yeah,
for word?
quote it. Did
Well,
he
do you
say
know-
with the hard R?
Yes.
Have you
no,
not
he
seen the video?
didn't.
Have you not seen the video?
You can't tell me you haven't seen this.
I haven't. I don't
Oh
know
my
how
God,
to find
it's the
good shit
greatest
like
video
that.
of all time.
Huh?
Oh my God, Michael! You really don't know the Michael Richards thing?
No, but I did go to his home for dinner. and
Michael
he's
Richards.
a lovely
Was he bumping into shit?
person.
Was he like Kramer? Do you remember Michael Richards? Were you there when he was doing his like stand up before
Remember
Seinfeld? When he did the weights and stuff?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? He used to go up.
And he
would
was
do like
on that show Fridays with Julia
Yeah.
Louise Seinfeld.
and he made that movie that was like really cute.
Julia
That movie
Louise
that was really
Seinfeld.
funny. I can't remember the name of it, but he would do this bit where he'd be like a weight trainer and the weights were going everywhere. It was like
Yeah.
he was funny, man.
Larry David was on that show too.
Interesting.
Here, hold on.
But anyways, he had like the original like biggest cancellation of all time, I would say.
Yeah, I was.
He was at the Laugh Factory. And I'm like, my mind's blown right now that you don't know this one.
Here,
no,
Mom,
I do
look.
know. I
Look.
do know. It's a bunch of black kids
Mom,
taunting him,
look.
and he called them the.
Oh yeah,
with the
see, you knew.
hard
I
R.
knew you knew.
You already knew. All right.
But he was.
Here it is, right here.
You want to watch?
Paul Mooney went on TV. It was so hilarious. Paul.
He's saying
called
he's
me.
and
Me and Paul talked about
she's
this.
not watching. Okay.
Paul Mooney, the greatest comic that ever fucking lived.
Tried to play it.
Play it. Can you play it?
Are you? Can I?
Yeah.
Get you interrupted multiple.
I bet you people love the like inter-family
Watch.
squabbles between you on the podcast.
They do.
Yeah?
It's there.
The fans must love that.
I love the Tate brothers. Oh, wait. What? What? Uh-oh.
He already called him.
He turned into a black person.
Before this, I'll go back because we missed. You were
He
talking over it.
became enraged
Watch.
and black.
No, he
Isn't that what
says.
happened?
He says.
He turned
and
into a black
Mom,
person.
Mom, watch. He's saying Nigger. At a black guy. He's a.
Oh, no.
In his mind, he was doing like an edgy thing.
It was edgy.
Hey,
In my mind, it was
successfully
edgy.
did an edgy thing. Yes,
Very edgy.
It's edgy as fuck, but the thing was, it was way over the people's heads.
Yeah.
He also
Probably
wasn't
not.
like known as an edgy guy.
Wrong
either,
place,
right?
wrong time.
That's true. Can we please promote your fucking YouTube channel? I keep trying to do it.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Roseanne, I've been on tour for 8 months, and I mentioned this, but I
8 months,
and I
solid.
like 10 days a month, like, you know, being in New York for 3 days at a time. I come back Sunday night, I write Monday, I shoot Tuesday, I do my podcast Wednesday, I leave Thursday morning. I've been doing that for like 8 months, and now I'm just going to go like every day, just work on like videos and stand up and
Oh my God!
writing.
God bless
That's
you.
all I'm gonna do.
That's kind of where I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Where I know I have to do that same thing. You
Isn't
know?
writing so funny though? Because like
It's so
I had a
great.
week the other day, and I was like walking around, just like thinking, and I like sat on the bench, and just like I don't know, just like it always feels so silly. You're just like thinking, you know, and you're just like maybe that's funny, and I just do that for 8 hours.
You mean the ideas that come in?
Yeah, and
Isn't
you
it
just
fun?
it's just so silly, and then always at the end of I just all I do is I think and I go, what about this? What about that? And you go, okay, that's, and then at the end of the day, you're like the whole day I feel like it's nothing, and then I go to do 3 shows at night, and then I look over it all, and you're like, oh, there's 3 things,
Right.
and 3 things is a lot.
3 things is a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
but 8 hours to come up with 3 things, the whole time you feel like you're doing nothing.
But you had a blast.
Sometimes I feel weird.
Sometimes it's torture.
But yeah,
I mean,
no.
but you've got to
You know
go
when it's
through-
torture? When you're doing too many things. If you're just doing that like when it's torture is when you're doing too many things. It's when you're actually like, hey, I'm writing for a week. It's not torture. I agree. It's fun.
Yeah, but then you're like, and I've got to turn in this script, and I have.
Then
yeah,
it's not
that
fun.
always happens to me, and I go berserk and blow up
Yeah.
because I always think
Deadlines are definitely the like
Deadlines.
they can be the killer of creativity for sure.
yeah,
Because you take shortcuts in your own brain.
then it's all regret, right? Like, why did I did that because I thought I could get there faster,
Yeah.
and you can't.
No, you can't. You
I
can
left
get there.
out 2 or 3 steps.
You can get there faster, worse.
Yeah. Isn't it great though that we're living in a time where we can at least attempt to be artistically free and say what we really think and feel?
I do think
It is great.
I was thinking about that when I was walking home 2 nights ago, that I was just like, I'm happier that I'm doing this now than 15 years ago. This is better, I think. Yeah. Like you can, the internet made it so the industry can't lie about who's the best. You know, the people pick, but the people will pick bad people, and you know that's fine. There's always going to be bad people that are, you know, at the top. That's always going to exist. There's always going to be people that beat the system, but they can't keep someone out who's great. That's what they used to be able to do. They can't do that anymore.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Well, you're not out.
well, they try to fight me at every move. It gets old.
So you're
Like,
thinking they
now
still
it's
matter.
Billy Baldwin Christian.
You think they still matter. And I've seen, I know you're very self-depreciative, and I know your old life was, you know, the top, and I understand that. But I've seen you come to a festival of the, you know, 500 of the top comedians in the world, and you're like the queen showing up. Like you walk into a venue and it's like, oh my God, like everyone's so, oh my God. And these are the people that make the culture, you know?
Yeah.
These are the people that make the culture, not those people that maybe are holding you back. But I think the people that make the culture, I've watched when you walk in a room and it's like a big deal and everyone's like pumped that you're there. And so in that sense, the people that you're talking about, in my opinion, I could care less what they think.
Thank you.
You know, it is very well said. I just worry for the young people being used and abused and gaslighted. I feel sorry for them. Like you said, well, it's not even their own fault because they've just been so brutalized. And
you know what the purpose of comedians can I tell you my comedy theory?
Huh?
People talk a lot about what's the purpose of comedy, right?
Right.
So my theory is, so in the stock market, people go, what's the purpose of day traders? And people say they're just rent seekers and there's no purpose, right? Well, the purpose is to find the price. Like if it's priced too high, well, people sell it and then they find the price. And I think the comedians, a lot of times the purpose is to find, like, let's say we say, this guy sucks, or like this politician, this guy's an idiot, or this guy's great. The purpose of the comedians is to find the truth. Like, you know, a lot of times in life, someone will be like, this guy, someone's average, and someone will be like, he's amazing. And you're kind of like, wow, amazing. That guy's all right. And then someone's like, he's the worst. And you're like, well, he's not the worst. Like I said, that guy's all right. Like the purpose of the comedian is to find the right values.
Wow.
And I think a lot of times that
because you're talking about an actual value for value system, which is what I always advocate for.
And there's discrepancy in the market. So I think when everyone's saying this is how it is, and you're like, no, you guys are off on that. That's where you come in, and the people that are good at this say, no, everyone's wrong about this, and then eventually it all comes over to you, and then you find the right values of things. And I think that's I feel like we've watched that happen a little bit, you know. So whether it be like something small, like, you know, Kim Kardashian's the worst, and then there's a while where everyone's saying, "Oh, this," and then the comedy instincts are like, "She's not as bad as that,"
right.
You know.
Do you think it's true that she forced Justin Bieber to have sex with her? That's all that.
Kim Kardashian. Oh, this is tea. Spill the tea, please.
Spill the tea.
I never heard
Spill the tea because it goes right back.
I'm listening.
It goes right back to Diddy and Drake and this whole thing that's
Usher
going on.
that forced Bieber to have sex with
for
him.
real, it does go back for real.
Yeah. It was Usher, by the way, that had forced Bieber to have sex with him.
Well,
yeah. Well, Usher.
But that's all the P. Diddy, all the gangs. What do you think's going on?
It's the mentor.
Yeah.
You know what mentor means?
Have you ever been to P. Diddy's parties?
Child rapist. No. No, that's the truth. That is true. Mentoring is very rare. Good mentoring is very rare.
I know. I like the lesbian mentoring. I know everything about the big fat 260-pound lesbian mentoring.
Does the lesbian mentoring also involve you have to go to her bed?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
100%.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ew, it's sickening.
How do you think how do you think Gail got a TV show?
You think Oprah, lesbians slept her way to the top?
No, I think
she munched her way to the top?
She did not.
She made other people munch her.
She did not sleep her lesbian way to the top.
She had other people munch her.
No, she did not.
She pushed Gail's head down under the...
No, she didn't. No.
She did. I don't even think Gail's gay.
Oh, you're saying she heterosexually slept her way to the top?
No. She
Yes,
was
she
actually
did
very,
with
very.
white men.
She was talented.
Yeah,
She actually
and,
made it,
She
and then she
canceled
raped
my
women.
talk show when
Oprah
they did.
did.
Yeah,
This
she
is
owned it,
Mom's
and they did the demographic. And when they found out my show had a higher percentage of working class black audience, where she had the upper middle class white girl audience, she was furious, and she killed my show.
Interesting.
Everybody
Allegedly.
knew it too. No, everybody knew it. All the black socialists knew it, but they all pussed out like they always would to Jesse Jackson. They all pussed out to him and Al Schroeder.
I don't think they do that
What's
anymore.
his name?
Sharpton.
Sharpton?
They don't do that
the
anymore.
The weatherman. No.
Al
No,
Roker?
yeah, Al Sharpton.
Al Roker probably is the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now that I think about it,
Al
we're just on
Roker's the head
it.
of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Borland, I think you meant.
Yeah. But I mean, it couldn't be more fucking obvious what they put my ass through, girl, boy, honey, sweetheart. You know what they've done to me. You don't even know.
I probably don't know the half of it, yeah. But I mean, you're right, especially at
They
that
don't
level.
like thinkers. Just leave it at that. They don't like thinkers. They don't like creators. They don't like
Well, you know
women.
what they hate more than that is
What?
someone they can't get rid of.
Yeah.
That's true.
They hate you more now than ever.
That's what Tucker Carlson said about me.
It's true. They keep thinking
They
they've
keep
canceled you,
trying
and
to
you keep
shut
showing
me
up.
up, but it never
Yeah,
does
that's
work.
what they hate the most when
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
You're like a zombie. You just
Yeah.
fucking keep coming. I love it.
No, but they did kill me pretty much. I was
No, they
thinking this
didn't.
last night.
No, they didn't.
They did pretty much kill me by killing my character and
No,
my
they
show.
didn't. That's all in your head. We keep. Everybody comes here week in
Why
week
did
in.
they
Because
even
you're
fucking
bullshit.
do that?
Well, I think it's we have this. You have the
She's still
you know
in
that
the old
chess
way of
thing
thinking.
where like when people are the biggest mistake people make in chess is your opponent gets an advantage and you keep playing like you still have the advantage because you
You
had it
like to-
before.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times you still play like the games like it was there, which you don't realize the new game.
She
maybe?
doesn't realize the new game.
I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not like
No, she
accusing you of
doesn't.
having.
No, she
that
doesn't. I
situation,
tell her every week. She doesn't understand. She still thinks it's like this old world model and the
Well,
cancellation.
who's the biggest? Who's the biggest like people right now in your opinion? Like who would be the biggest like
Powerful?
comedians in the world?
Well, I'm just learning it. I just know who I like, and I don't know a lot. I mean,
But name like who's the person that's like the biggest right now that like the industry's made it.
I would say Chappelle. Probably most people would agree with that right now.
Well, he's not
no, he's
industry
on the
darling
down.
right now by
No,
any
No,
means.
he's
that's my
on the
point.
down.
But a lot of people
But
consider
he's not
him.
on the down. He's as big as he ever was.
That's what I'm saying. He's bigger than he ever
Well,
was.
yeah, but I mean, he's not anybody that people would say. People would, if they said that, even if they mean it or not, it sounds old. They got to do
You're
it
just saying younger people.
They always have to.
Well, there's different
younger.
classes of comedians, right?
Yeah.
There's
Right.
like legends, and then there's
Yeah, he's a
there's just
legend.
different. Yeah, there's
He's a
different
legend
classes.
for sure.
He's definitely the benefit
I'll
of
tell
being
you
a
what,
legend
Dave
is
Chappelle is a legend, but I have to say the following: he is no Bernie Mac.
you think
There's
is Bernie
never
Mac the best in your
been-
opinion?
Bernie Mac is the greatest ever. Well,
are you
plus
talking
Richard
about?
Pryor, plus
Yeah.
Paul Mooney. I mean,
Robin
these
Harris.
friends. Robin Harris.
Yeah. What are you talking about, Bernie Mac? I
I
like
always
Bernie
think
Mac.
of Robin Harris here in Texas. He would be making $1 million per show right now when he's going electric chair. Fuck that! I want the electric couch.
Do you know
Yeah.
Robin
Line 'em
Harris?
all
For me,
up.
I think it goes Bernie Mac second, hamburgers first.
Who's that? Hamburger. Who's that?
He says hamburger.
I think.
Have you heard of Afro Man?
The rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't even get to the rap thing.
Oh
we did.
yeah.
What are you about?
A lot of
Drake?
rap gossip.
Why
Ryan
are
has
they
to go
coming
soon,
at
though.
Drake?
Well, I'll tell you
know
what.
why they're
I
coming
know
at
he's
Drake?
a
They
Kendrick
don't
Lamar
like
side.
Drake because he's half Jew. That's why they don't fucking like Drake. But I'll tell you what, that is why Drake will come back strong.
Drake is a
Like the
pedophile,
Lion of
Mom.
Judah.
You
He
need to
might be a
understand.
pedo.
Watch your mouth when you talk about the six like
Hey,
that. The
He
six
is.
Yeah,
gods.
but I'm telling you what,
They all are pedophiles, though.
they're all pedophiles.
They are.
They're all.
You don't get in the rap game until you get raped by
pedophiles is
Diddy.
Not, I'll tell you what. I don't think a
some receipts,
pedophile is
fake tea.
a 14, 15-year-old child. I don't think that's a pedophile. I'm sorry.
I
No
think-
one's even said he's done that, though.
I think by
No, but I'm
definition, it's
saying-
12. It's prepubescent as pedophile. So 12, usually 12. and
Under
below.
12, that's a
This guy's like the
pedo.
media throwing out the pedophile accusation
Yeah.
real quick.
I don't have a problem with it
No,
because I
but
know I'm
that's
right.
what we always talk about.
I would never do it unless I was
Under
right.
12 is a pedo.
Do you know how people talk about, like, how people look at politics like a sports team where it doesn't matter, they're just on the
I
side?
think
That's me
anyone
with
who
Toronto
has
shit.
sex should be killed.
I understand that. I understand, but can I just say something? To get in
Anyone
the
who
rap
has
game,
sex
she
should
never lets me
die,
talk.
is my opinion. That's my opinion.
very
It's for
interesting
making
point.
babies. That's it.
If you're in the rap game, just like Hollywood, there are
But I
certain
don't
things
like
you have
they're
to.
coming after Drake just
You
because
have
he's
to
a
be.
Jew.
It's not because
They're
he's a Jew.
coming
See,
after
she's
Drake
doing the
because
thing.
he's a Jew. I'm telling you what, with this
She's doing the
Palestine
thing.
horse
She
shit.
does.
I'm going to say on the other side of that,
She won't let me
Drake,
talk.
I'm giving you the energy. Drake, you got to do it for the Jews.
I promise you this isn't helping his street cred.
It's not.
But
No, Drake, you got to do it for the Jews, Drake. You got to come back and say what
It's
you
only
know
because
you
he's a
gotta
Jew
say.
you're defending him, but
Huh?
that's the problem. You're picking him
But
tribal.
I mean,
It's
many
tribalism.
Jews have a smaller penis, which drives them to do immoral things, and it's not good.
I'm just saying, to get into hip hop, you have to be jumped in, and jumped in is to be raped. I've been saying this for 10 years. P. Diddy's story breaks. Everyone's like, "What did he do in the
You
studio?"
gotta get effed in the A to
You
get in the
do,
club.
and they
Why
videotape
did
it.
they
It's the
lie
Epstein.
about it?
Why are
It's
you
the
acting?
same with
Why
the
don't you let me talk?
Freemasons
I have
and
to-
the
I have to- I'm gonna
Jesuits.
have to mute her.
You've got to get effed in the A.
That's what I'm saying. So
Am I right?
no, you have to. They videotape. It's the Epstein
I don't
Island
think
model.
Drake got fucked in the ass. I'm
100% got fucked in. A Drake
not
got
my
fucked in,
Drizzy.
He got fucked in the ass at like
By
probably
P.
10 or 11.
Diddy and
No.
R. Kelly
Well, P. Diddy
and
fine.
Right by the
Jay-Z.
Nickelodeon guy.
Do you think Meek
Anybody
Mill?
who has an initial as their first name is a pedo.
That's a gross generalization. To be in hip hop, you get filmed having sex.
Case closed.
Wait, hold on. Why are we
That's
acting
fucking
like?
ridiculous.
Why does no
People
one let
are
me talk?
fucking shit.
I'm making too much
That's
sense.
the truth. People are shit.
All right, let me
Please,
give your
Brian,
spew your
just
Drake
real
hate.
quick. It's not Drake hate. To be
Twitter comment section over here.
to be no, I know what I'm talking about. Hey, I was right about all this shit. You guys are acting like this is brand new. I've been talking about this for a decade. So it's time to give me
You
some
have
respect.
been.
You know
Thank
what?
you.
Want to know a crazy fact?
I'm just saying you have
Okay,
to get.
tell me,
you have
tell
to
me
get
why Drake's a
ju-
pedophile.
Let him
You
talk
get
or he'll go
jumped
crazy.
in. No, just real quick. You get
It's true.
jumped in,
To
and they
again.
videotape you. It's the Epstein Island model. It's blackmail videotape. To act like that only
It's the
happened.
Crips
Please
and
let
the
me
Bloods.
finish. To
Crips
act
and the
like that
Bloods.
only happened on Epstein Island is naive. It happens in every
Crips and the
industry.
Bloods.
So that's all I'm trying to say. Just let me get this one sentence out.
Freemasons, Jesuits.
She can't let me get a sentence out. It happens in every
Kabod.
industry. It's blackmail because they own you. It probably happens at Kabod. It probably does. It happens at the
Kabod
Vatican.
does that.
They rape
Kabod-
kids and they film it and they say,
Kabod-
I'm going to show the
Yeah.
tape.
I mean, I'm telling you,
Thank you.
all these Babylonian motherfuckers, they gotta go.
I have to
Gotta
argue
go,
to get my
gotta go.
word in.
I understand your perspective.
And it's true.
Fuck Babylon.
Have you heard Bad Bitches? No, but a crazy story is one of my
I'm sure this exception.
closest friends growing up in Ajax Pickering is his brother.
Pickering what?
I grew up in a place called Ajax. I went to Pickering High School, and
Ajax?
it's where I grew up. And one of my best friends growing up,
Ajax, Canada?
Can you
Ajax,
please-
Ajax, Canada. Yeah.
Please let him finish this.
Well, it's a quick thing. One of my closest friends, like in our little squad of 6 people, his brother went on to be a rap producer, and he made his name's T Minus, and he made started from the bottom. I think like he made tons of. So Drake's he won Grammys and shit, and he was so it's kind of interesting. One of my closest friends growing up, his brother is
Pretty
Drake's
cool.
producer on like tons of these
Wow.
songs.
good shit. It's
Well,
See,
good
I
stuff.
think Drake
Not a
is,
pedophile.
Probably not the producer.
I don't
no.
think
The
Drake
producers
is a
don't have to.
pedophile.
No,
I
because
think he
producers
just-
make it for talent.
He
Rappers
just
have to.
likes them young, like, some of them do.
It's not hard to rap. It's not like singing or playing
I think
an instrument.
Drake is great.
He
Drake
is, but being a great
funny.
rapper is like
Drake
being a
is
great juggler.
funny.
It's not
He's
that hard.
Cute.
He had funny jokes though, like when
I
he
want
says,
to have sex with Drake.
You wanna
I'll
have
just go
sex
right
with
now
every-
to have sex with Drake.
I'm glad you're getting your mojo back because you said you don't have sexual feelings, but for Drake,
No,
For Drizzy?
not really.
Drizzy,
Not really. But someone should.
"Back Against the Curb." That was pretty funny.
I mean,
He's funny.
He's funny.
I like
These other
him.
rappers that they're not funny, like Ludacris. Is it Ludacris? It ain't Ludacris. Who's going after
I don't know anything about. I don't follow rap because they're all gay. I don't like it.
Who's
I don't. I'm sorry. I
Who
don't.
is it? Who is it
I don't-
that's got the beef with Drake? It's not
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, he's gay too.
I mean, among
Kendrick.
others.
Kendrick.
It's a 20v1, some might say.
I
What
looked
is-
at
I don't know what that
Kendrick's,
means.
It's from the rap. It's
I
from the,
looked at Kendrick's shit. Brilliant. His shit was brilliant. How he took it to Drake. Brilliant prose. Did you think so? And it
no,
kept
I'm
on
all.
coming.
I'm
He's
pro
Team Drake. He's from Canada.
Yeah, obviously.
He's a
yeah.
national-
I thought it was brilliant prose, but I thought it was all for setting up Drake to come back because he is a Jew. And he's like, they don't like the Jews. But Drake is going to come back, motherfucker, like a fucking,
It's a ghostwriter.
Are you guys
like
aware
a
that rap
goddamn
feuds are
machine
bullshit?
gun. He's going to
Do you
come
not even
back
know
like
this?
this. Let's
try and get this sentence out,
You think this one's bullshit?
But I didn't like
Most-
that they brought in ASAP Rocky to it because, I just love ASAP Rocky.
Don't
You
bring
like-
his name in vain. You were telling me this before. You're very upset.
Oh, I
About
forgot. Yeah, didn't you have a video? You love him, right?
I love him because he is so good of a husband and father.
I don't know if that's true, but how do you know?
Because I can tell on the videos.
Do you guys know rap feuds are bullshit? Like marketing, some white Jewish girl in a marketing job is like, you guys need to fight for 3 months. They do a contract. It's like a fucking what's his name?
Yeah,
marriage.
but when you call a guy a pedophile,
Leonardo DiCaprio
as
relationship. It's a
Kendrick
contract.
did,
I know more than this than you
Kendrick
guys.
called Drake a pedophile.
He is a pedophile. Good for Kendrick.
Pedophile isn't 16 and 15
You
and
think
14.
the whole thing's fake?
I think every
Pedophile
rap
is 9, 10, 11, and 12.
it's 12 and below. It's prepubescent and below, but it's still from puberty till 18.
It's
is still
like Joe Biden with the babies. That's a pedophile. When Joe Biden goes up and bites children, have you seen him bite babies?
He sniffs them.
tries to gum the baby's
Yeah.
cheeks.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, he likes the taste and smell of babies.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, obviously. There's compilations of 20 of them in a row.
They've been pulled. A lot of them have been pulled off the internet, which is the scariest fucking thing. Remember when he told that one girl, he's like, I wish I were 13. Can't find that anywhere.
Do you think Drake's going to get P. Diddy? Is that what you're kind of proposing?
What I'm trying to
I'm sure
I'll
they're
never-
all involved. What?
she'll never
Go
let me
ahead,
say.
you fucking
I'm
brat.
just saying.
Yeah,
that
what's your perspective on this whole thing?
I'm sure you
rap?
would ask.
Rap? No, because real recognizes real. Rap is not. I hate. It's gonna make people mad. It's not really that hard. It's like juggling. Now, there's good rappers and
I
bad
love
rappers.
rap. It's wrestling.
But hold on, it's not.
Rap is
It's not
wrestling.
singing. It's not playing an instrument.
Drake sings.
Yeah, no,
Drake
there are
sings.
good singers that rap. I'm just saying, rap in itself is a real. People hustle to get in there and go, "Oh, this is an easy shit. I can make a lot of money. I don't even have to be talented."
I'll marry Drake.
They don't even rap. I mean, they don't even
I'd
rhyme.
love to
A lot
marry
of them
Drake.
don't
He's
rhyme.
a nice Jewish boy.
So anyway, Ryan, to answer your question, if I could get a sentence out, is that the rap game is a hustle game. There's things you have to do to get in, which is be raped on tape, pretty much. And to
Well,
get to the
it's
top,
true.
it's a marketing.
It's
And then
true.
the fucking rapper fights. That's all some Jewish girl that's like, you need to fight with him for 3 months, and that's how you get up there. It's for people that
It's
aren't
the
talented enough to
publicists.
sing.
The lesbian publicists
Thank you.
control Hollywood. That's
Yeah.
what it's about.
And Hollywood acting is a
And
talent.
they
Rap
do
is not.
sacrifice male children's penises.
They do.
Well, all right. Well,
That's my
You
thing.
made it less fun, but
I'm just saying, why are we acting
we were
like
pretty
rap?
hyped when Drake's song came out.
Why is rap a part of
This
music?
is the guy- We're all like, "Yo, the new song came out. Let's watch this." It's like, you know, they're pet. I don't want to be there.
Do you want to watch it? Let's watch Drake. Let's
We
watch
will, but
it.
Ryan needs to go, and we need to promote his page. We haven't even done it yet. Please promote your fucking
All right.
page. I've been asking
No,
you
I'm
to.
totally, but you know what? I remember last time you brought that up was when I said I finished my tour. But so I'm not. I'm kind of not promoting anything. But I do a
YouTube channel.
podcast every Friday, which is called The Boys Cast, and we do a sketch at the beginning of everything. And I do videos at youtube.com/Ryan Long Comedy, and I release like a video every week, and or sometimes more.
This one I showed had 9 million
I wanna
views.
be
I just
in
went
a
to the Trump.
video.
I just did one where I went to the Trump trial, and that was pretty funny. I missed the guy who lit himself on fire by one day.
Damn,
Oh,
that would have been
shit.
so
That would have
good.
been wild.
If
That would've
I
been the
would've
best
been
interview.
there, I want to do a video with you.
Would you have
I
interviewed
want
him?
to go like to
That'd
the
be
guy
sick.
that sets himself on fire and go, woo, woo, woo,
Just pour
right?
gas on him. Squeeze a gas bottle on his head.
baby.
Well, it's funny. That guy was like if you read his thing, it wasn't even that aggressive. Like the original guy was like, for to protest like Vietnam or whatever, wasn't it? And then and then the second guy was like the Palestine. The third guy was like crypto. The next guy is going to be like, because Arby's is closing earlier. Like the things that people are lighting themselves on fire these days doesn't take much.
It's true.
I said I wish more people would do it because I really think it helps. I think it helps the Palestinian babies. It really helps the Palestinians.
That's true. Do more.
And the babies of the world.
It's common now. There was like 3 guys in the last month.
Yeah.
Did you see that guy when he started on fire? Like, you wonder what they're thinking. They must be on so many fentanyls.
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Right?
Do they take a lot of fucking pills before?
Antidepressants,
Right?
for sure.
They're on a
100%.
lot of... Because he was just sitting here like this. He's on fire.
How would you not be screaming?
But then at the end, his face goes like this.
Oh,
Right at the very end. So he's like on fentanyls or something.
wild.
Because why would you do that? I mean, it don't make any sense that you'd set yourself on fire.
I read the latest one and it seemed kind of like it seemed like a little bit of like I've seen friends that are starting to fucking really get like schizo. It kind of felt like that type of stuff.
No, you're definitely mentally ill if you're lighting yourself on fire. There's no cause where you read it and you go, oh. Maybe back in the day, didn't that guy that didn't want to go to Vietnam light himself on fire? That was pretty cool.
Well,
I mean,
that
the
was
war
after-
ones are
Those
a
are the
little
good old
more-
days, yeah.
That
Those
was
have more
actually
weight.
after all these Cambodian
That was
priests
cool.
set themselves on fire in Cambodia and Vietnam.
And they just
to
sat there like this.
protest because it's a kind of a communist mind control thing.
But I thought that was
You
more
know?
badass. That was like the grittier, like old school lighting yourself on fire. It had more.
I mean, you know who really was good at setting themselves on fire for political activism were the Tibetans.
Yeah.
Which is why everybody was
Was that where it
so
started, right?
angry.
They would just sit there like this.
That was the
and
original
melt.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was badass. He never moved. If you watch it, he just sits there like this. He was deep in meditation. These guys scream. "Ah!" It's
I would
not
be
as cool.
screaming.
No
I'd be
shit.
like a little
But
girl.
why do that?
too.
I guess it's for publicity.
Hey, Ma, I know you can't take ibuprofen, which I think is crazy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know we don't get into specifics, but you had your stomach removed because you were a big fat cow. No, but anyway, you did have you had your stomach stapled years ago, and for some reason you can't take ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen is not a solution to pain. Right now, you can go to getnativepath.com/Roseanne to see your special offer for being a Roseanne Barr listener. Ibuprofen isn't only ineffective, it's downright dangerous, especially for us seniors. That's why researchers are saying to add this Antarctic, you know how I love Antarctica.
Oh yeah, this is probably like Nazi technology. Then,
Well,
right?
I don't know. There's got to be something good down there.
Or
too.
alien. I can't remember what you talk about in Antarctica.
Well, also flat Earth. I don't know. The dome. I don't know.
Whatever, it's good if it's
But
from
right
Antarctica.
here, super nutrient, you add it to your diet. And we're talking about omega-3 fatty acids. I love anything with the word fatty in it. Fatty acids, but not just any form of omega. These are omega-3 fatty acids sourced from wild-caught krill. The omega-3 content from krill oil has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reducing inflammation, swelling, and joint pain, because all those 3 things go together. In fact, it can outperform ibuprofen, Advil, and Tylenol, and it doesn't have any dangerous side effects mentioned above either. Better yet, for a limited time, you can grab NativePath Antarctica Krill Oil for as low as $23 a bottle. Just go to getnativepath.com/Roseanne right now to get your special offer for being a part of Roseanne Barr's audience.
All right, Ma, it's time to talk about one of our favorite products, the TWC Emergency Health Kit.
Yes, we love it.
And, Dr. McCullough, Dr. Drew Pinsky, McCullough's coming on the show later this summer, and we've had Dr. Drew on. These are friends of the show. They're real doctors. They developed this product. We've talked about it at length. We love this product. And they have other products, but this specifically is a very important product.
It's a family health kit.
I know you had something to say about Dr. Drew Pinsky before we got into this.
Well, he said I was dead inside when
Yeah.
I told him to do a reading on me. He said, well, you're dead inside. Well, I'm not dead inside, Dr. Drew, but thank you for spending the time to.
Thank you for your professional
Thank
medical
you for
opinion.
your opinion. It's a brilliant idea, isn't it?
It is. You
It's a
can-
home health kit, and
Yeah.
it's like for the same price as one hospital or one doctor visit.
One doctor visit,
You've
yeah.
got everything there at the tip of your fingers, which you'd be going for like your ivermectin and stuff like that. Have to go to the doctor, pay all that money just to get the prescription.
Yeah.
There you've got it in your home health kit.
Oh, yeah, we were going to
everything you could
Tractor
possibly
Supply.
need.
During COVID, me and Eddie went to Tractor Supply because it's ivermectin is a horse paste.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to do that. I want to have. So you buy this emergency health kit if you get it, and just store it in your pantry
Mm-hmm.
with your guns and your ammo and whatever else you need. And if shit goes bad, open it up. It's an emergency health kit. Everything you need.
Be ready for the next thing with the Wellness Company's Medical Emergency Kit containing 8 life-saving medications, including ivermectin, amoxicillin, and Z-Pak. That's a really good one. Plus a guidebook to aid in the safe use of these life-saving medications. This kit is prescription only. You can't find anything like it in a store or a pharmacy. And every American should have at least one of these kits at their home. Ordering your kit takes less than 2 minutes, and it couldn't be simpler. Go to twc.health/RB and use the code RB to purchase your kit with $30 off and free shipping. Whether it's bird flu, monkeypox, COVID, cyber attacks, or drugstore shortages, you'll have what you need no matter what. Safeguard your health today and the health of your family by going to twc.health/RB and use RB at the checkout to save. Kits are only available in the USA. But
Mental illness is the clear answer. I mean, you're crazy.
Why can't there be something that we could come up with that would be more effective than burning yourself alive?
Comedy.
Comedy.
Podcasting.
Comedy's kind of self-immolation, you think?
That's a good point.
Do
You just
ya?
put stuff online so everyone could tell you, shit talk you, yeah.
Do you think comedy is a calling from God?
No.
I like that answer.
I don't know.
Please
Do you
explain.
think it's a mental illness?
Well, I'm not religious.
Okay. But do you think
calling?
it's a
I think there's different ways that people do it, and if you did comedy in any scene starting out, I think it's hard to argue that mental illness is not a big part of that scene. But there's different reasons that people do it. I think but like, I mean, there is part of it that's like just there's certain people that just like, went to school, they were in drama, went to drama school, and they're like, oh, I want to like making funny stuff, I'll be a comedian. There's certain people where it was very like a natural progression for them. I think for some people, there's something more inside of you that you're like, I need to do this. And I think that, I mean, there's got to be something a little unwell about like just anyone who's like, everyone needs to hear what I have to say, but I think there's a craft. I think there's the other part of it where you just look at like a craft. Like some people are like craftsmen, like you're just like, it's like a job.
Right.
You're just like, wake up, write your stuff, do it, go do 3 things. Like it's not glamorous in that sense, right? It's almost like work, like it's almost like just a job, so it doesn't have to be glamorous in that sense. I don't know, taking the subway to another spot and then writing your jokes and okay, you're like, that's not glamorous. That's not like a calling from God, I don't think.
Well, what's your reason for making a fool of yourself for no reason?
Bill Burr had a
I love him.
he had a good kind of point that I think was like a version of how I think of it is a lot of people talk, and I think it's true that you kind of look at like, how can I be the most useful? Like, where am I the most useful?
Yeah.
Right. And that's probably, I don't know if happiness is the right word, but like where you like feel like I'm purposeful, where am I the most useful? And everyone's different. And I do think like the collection of skills and things I have, I actually do think this might be the best thing in the world that I'd be the best at.
Mm-hmm.
So then I feel like a lot of times I'm probably the best suited to be doing this. So for me, I think that's why. So I don't think that's a calling from God. I think that's a calling from like who I am as a person, which I guess you could say is from God, but I think
you think that's fate?
No, I think that everyone has to find it.
But for you, is it fate?
No, I don't. I don't think so, because I think a lot of people don't find it, and a lot of people don't necessarily have one. It doesn't always exist. But there are certain people where it's like, how many? Some people, their talents might be misplaced.
You got the fire in the belly, though.
Well,
you got the fire in the belly for saying the truth as you see it, though.
I think so, And you might be right, or maybe I have the fire and the ability for being the best, and what I've chosen to be the best at is saying the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe my fire comes from like a pursuit of greatness, and I happen to be pursuing truth as that thing.
Well, you can juxtapose like a motherfucker.
You think I'm like dodging it?
No, I think you get it.
No, I think you're really deep.
You juxtapose it like a motherfucker.
Yeah, we think you're really
thank
deep.
you so much for being on.
Oh yeah,
my
you're the best.
podcast.
Honestly,
I
I'm
love
not. I'm
you.
not kidding. I think that one of the coolest things in being in this industry and stuff is the times that we like hung out. It's very cool.
I want to come to New York and work. I'm serious.
Good, you should.
I want to, 'cause
Fuck
I
yeah.
need
Well,
to-
Dave Chappelle does
I
that. He
need to-
comes for like 2 weeks and
He
just does like 5.
does?
Yeah, a lot of people that kind of live somewhere random,
Mhm.
you know, it seems like very often, especially if there's someone like you that has like status, they come to New York and kind of, you know, fuck around like, and they really, you know, you can find clubs that'll be like whatever you want, however long you want to do. I'm sure tons of places would do that. You know,
That's what I'm going to do.
And then
Because
you come, yeah.
I want my new 20. Because I got a new.
come do that twice a night for
40,
2 weeks. I'm
and
sure
I
you can do that in
need
Austin too, but
I want to go to New York.
yeah, go do it. Go to the Cellar, go to the Stand, go to the Comedy Cellar.
You should do all of it, Mom. There's a talk
I'll
about
do
a
it
Vegas
Go to Brooklyn, be
residency.
like, I'm going to do
too.
20 minutes a night,
Yeah,
twice a
Brooklyn. I
night.
want to go to
Will
Bronx
you get on the
too.
microphone, Mom?
I know they got good shit in the Bronx too, right?
I don't cross
Clubs?
30th Street.
I get it.
Elitist.
But people are telling me to do that. But anyway, long live comedy.
Hell yeah, of course. That'd be
Right.
awesome. I think you'd love that, and then, you know, do it every few months. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Ryan, I want to say thank you so much. We've been trying to get you on this fucking show for almost a year.
I know. I'm sorry that I got sick, but
Well, no, don't be sorry. We've been moving and
We're glad
traveling,
you're
but
feeling better.
I think you're brilliant, and I think you're
We love
fucking
you so
deep.
much.
thanks,
So
guys.
smart.
No, I love hanging
mean,
out with you guys, so appreciate it.
We'll come back, or we'll go to New York.
Or we'll come to you.
She
We're
keeps
on
trying to
our
ditch
way
me. Will you
to,
take my mom to New York, and I'll stay here with my baby? I think she'd have more fun with you than
I want to get an
That's why
Airbnb.
just take her.
You're her handler.
I am, but could you be her handler? I need a
He's
break.
my elder abuser. I want to get an Airbnb in New York.
You
and
should
just
go.
do comedy.
No, the cellar was cool as shit, dude.
I'd go see plays and such, you know.
We were
and
just there.
see some
Well, you know.
art.
No, we'll go. Dude, I keep trying to fucking tell you this. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You have the means. You have the time. You can do whatever you want. You just have to get up. You have to put the Q videos down off your laptop and go outside. That's all you have to do is get off the Q videos and go outside.
Just when they're happening.
Drip, drip. All right. Close this up. He does have to go.
No, I'm in a big hurry, but yeah, that's fine.
Love you, love you, love you. Tell Hannah to come and take our picture.
Oh, you see